Wild horses couldn't drag me away from this broadcast. Record audience is tuned in right now at Infowars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, Tuesday, already the 16th day of May 2017, and the deep state is now out in the open, and it has emerged like the Kraken out of the Aegean Sea and is trying to destroy Donald Trump and the American people's desperate attempt to get control of our government back from the globalist. Doesn't mean Trump's perfect. Doesn't mean Trump has all the answers. Doesn't mean he's not fallible like everybody else. But he is a real American president who really is trying to turn our economy around and bring back our pride. And the enemy is trying to destroy him like I've never seen. It is so cartoonish. It is so naked. It is so ridiculous at this point. I don't even know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Stone's going to be in studio with us coming up here for the next hour. We have several other informative guests today, but let me just break this down. It is incontrovertible fact that President Trump released nothing classified in his meeting with the Russian foreign minister and the Russian head ambassador. Last night, it was about 5 o'clock, and I was at home with my family, and I was getting ready to go out to eat a business meeting with Roger Stone and some of the crew, and my parents went along. And I pull up the story where Trump has supposedly given classified information to the Russians in this meeting. First, they said he let them plant bugs in there and didn't let reporters in. It was all these lies. And now they were saying this. And then I go, and McMaster runs out and says, none of this is true. It's made up. I was there. And the first thing hit me. McMaster's one of the known big leakers, deep state operatives. I said he knows his neck's on the chopping block reportedly in the next week or so. He's doing this to be the savior. He's the leaker working with the Washington Post. I called a lot of really smart people, and Roger called some folks. I'll just leave it at that. And that's exactly what they said before we even said, do you think it's McMaster? Everybody, well, we know it came out of the National Security Agency. And that's what he sits atop of as the National Security Advisor to the president. They've got the big office of the head of national intelligence that he interfaces with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible. And what was even more incredible is I was driving to eat dinner at like 5:45. I was listening to local news, national news on local radio, and it hit me so hard it gave me a headache. Because they started getting into what the classified info was about ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and it was they were planning to load laptops with bombs. And it hit me not like in joy that I can disprove what liars they are, but that they're that sick and think we're that stupid. The level of lying by the Washington Post that reportedly cheered as they saw record traffic coming into their website. I have over 100 articles. You can Google ISIS bomb makers plan to put bombs in laptops. You'll get AP, Reuters, New York Times, Washington Post, the Express, the BBC, literally over 100 articles from April and March saying exactly what the president talked about, saying, you know, we're really concerned about them blowing up airplanes with this. What do you think? That's what the president's supposed to talk to foreign leaders about. And these traitors, these scumbags, turn that into treason by our president. Now, here's the rest of the story of this Machiavellian tale, and it's on Infowars.com. Guess what broke 30 minutes before they put out this piece of BS that they had been floating around for the last couple days? That Seth Rich's PI got in the laptop, and clearly he was killed because he was interfacing with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is as much as said, we don't give out our sources, but Seth Rich, you know, that was probably our source. WikiLeaks, you should just release it all right now, or Assange, you're a dead man. The globalists are going to kill you. All the planets are aligning now. They're making their move on Trump soon. You can see it, but more importantly, I can feel it. Ladies and gentlemen, hold fast. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the 16th day of May 2017 on this Tuesday global transmission. We're going to be live here from the InfoWars News Centers for the next 4 hours. Riding shotgun with me for part of the transmission is Roger Stone, formerly head of the Trump campaign that obviously brought him to victory. The deep state is lashing out big time. Seth Rich murder developments, the guy that got shot 4 times in the back a day after WikiLeaks got information, they said, from a DNC insider. Well, we have also seen folks come out like Julian Assange and say, we don't ever give out sources, but Seth Rich was basically our source. Well, absolutely, he's been killed. Obviously, you never give out sources to protect them, but he's been killed now. You've got to completely release that information and what else you have, WikiLeaks, because the planets are now aligning. Notice, within 30 minutes of this breaking on Fox television, they're in D.C., getting around the controlled corporate media. The whole Washington Post story comes out that Trump didn't just let them plant listening devices in the Oval Office, the Russians. He didn't just keep out the media and only let the Russians in. None of that was true. He had their pool reporter, our pool reporter, America's. No. He gave them classified info on Al-Qaeda and ISIS and on an ally in the Middle East that gave us intel. And then we learned what he talked about. He talked about laptop bombs that ISIS has been putting out in public releases and in recruitment videos and in bomb-making training that they've been preparing. This has been in the news April and again in March. And again this year, it's been in the Washington Post. It's been in the New York Times. I have screenshots of all of it that we're going to be putting on screen for everyone. So here it is. Trump revealed highly classified information to Russia foreign minister and ambassador. And then you've got them all attacking him in the Washington Post, the New York Times. But here they are in the New York Times, and here they are with Max Boot and all of the publications coming out, Adam Goldman, you name it, New York Times. On March 22nd, intelligence shows that Islamic State is developing a bomb hidden in portable electronic devices. Here it is. U.S. raid in Yemen led to laptop ban on flights. That was on the news in April and in March. All Trump discussed was something that is in the news. It's like Trump saying, did you see the yellow sun, Lavrov, up in the sky today? Did you see that big old yellow sun? And they go, yes, Mr. President, we saw the yellow sun. And the news goes, my God, he just gave away the intelligence. This man is a traitor. So this is the incredible level of lies. Bonafide, completely fake, saying the sun is in the sky. But meanwhile, 30 minutes after it comes out, Seth Rich, the private eye, that was originally hired by the family, that went in and got into the laptop saying, yes, he was in contact with WikiLeaks. The family said they thought he was killed in foul play by the Democrats, but now they've reversed that, at least Fox News is claiming, and says, oh, the family's saying it isn't true what the PI says. So this is amazing. There's the original story, Fox 5, up on Infowars.com. By the way, they're starting to take these articles down. Everybody should screenshot this. Family's private investigator. There is evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to the death. We have Assange as saying as much, even though he doesn't want to break his code of never giving up sources. That's kind of letter of the law. When someone's been killed and the globalists know they're the source and they're a hero and they're not a Russian.
This is very clear. Julian Assange offered a $25,000 reward for anyone who had information regarding the murder of Seth Rich. What clearer indication could you have had that Rich was his source? Rich was not a low-level grunt at the DNC. He was the head of the IT division. So this is a classic example of them creating fake news in an attempt to blunt this devastating news. What the president should do immediately is order that the FBI take over the investigation into the Rich murder from the D.C. Metropolitan Police. Both of them are technically under the control of the President of the United States.
And let's go further. We have this PI that was hired by the family saying, I talked to senior police officers that said, quote, we were ordered to stand down on this murder investigation. This is a respected PI with contacts in the police department, former law enforcement. This is bombshell intel. Well, bombshell intel.
And Alex, I would point out that that Mark Rich's parents, Seth Rich's parents have changed their story. They initially said that they did not believe this was a robbery. In fact, Mr. Rich's father was quoted as saying that his ring and his wallet and his jewelry and his cash was intact. But now they seem to be, with a completely different story, trying to discredit the work of this private detective. There is, of course, one other person who could absolutely prove that Mark Rich was a source, and he has no source to protect because, as you point out, Mr. Rich is dead, and that is Julian Assange. Perhaps he will be heard from.
Absolutely. We're going to walk all through this and recap this, but this is simply amazing. And speaking of that clip, here is the original report from Fox there in D.C., and the full report is up on Infowars.com, and the full transcript of an article by Paul Watson where he talks about the fact that he talked to the senior police and they told him we were ordered to, quote, stand down. Here is that report.
We are just 2 months shy of the 1-year anniversary of Seth Rich's murder. And ever since we learned Rich was a DNC staffer, the conspiracy theories online have taken a life of their own. But today, Fox 5 has learned there is new information that could prove these theorists are, in fact, right. New information from the family's private investigators suggests there is tangible evidence on Seth Rich's laptop that confirms he was communicating with WikiLeaks prior to his death. Now, the question is, why has D.C. police, as the lead agency on the investigation for the past 10 months, insisted this was a botched robbery when till this day there is no evidence to suggest that? The Rich family hired Rod Wheeler, a former MPD homicide detective, to run a parallel investigation into their son's death. Wheeler says he believes there's a cover-up and the police department has been told to back down from the investigation.
The police department nor the FBI has been forthcoming. They haven't been cooperating at all. I believe that the answer to solving his death lies on that computer, which I believe is either at the police department or either at the FBI. I've been told both.
But you have sources at the FBI saying that there is information could link Seth Rich to WikiLeaks?
Absolutely.
I want that private detective on.
Confirmed. Actually, I have a source inside the police department that has looked at me straight in the eye and said, Rod, we were told to stand down in this case, and I can't share any information with you. Now, that's highly unusual for a murder investigation, especially from a police department. Again, I don't think it comes from the chief's office, but I do believe there is a correlation between the mayor's office and the DNC, and that's the information that's going to come out tomorrow.
Wow, and that's coming out today. So now they've got the top DNC spin master, who is a crisis expert who, quote, handles crises, who is out spinning this whole deal. This is amazing. And again, it turned out Seth Rich was in key IT areas, dealing with databases, dealing with DNC communications. And so here we have probably the prime hero, the leaker, an American patriot, giving the information to WikiLeaks, helping us get a view into CNN and the rest of the media, colluding with the Democrats, all this incredible corruption. He gets shot multiple times in the back. Nothing gets taken. The family hires a reputable PI, former police officer, who interfaces a parallel investigation, discovers all this stuff's going on, is told by the police, we've been told to stand down. This is unbelievable. And this happens, this starts coming out 30 minutes before on the news. They're in D.C. And so, boom, the Washington Post runs with this giant hoax that Trump told them about laptop bombs when that had been in the news in April and March in over 100 major publications. I mean, the brazenness, the Washington Post, knowing they'd get caught. Then McMaster runs out. We'll play that coming up, and gives a short press conference saying he was there, nothing classified was talked about. I'm telling you, I smell Machiavellian plot to pull McMaster out of the fire, to pull his bacon out of the fire, Roger Stone.
Alex, I now believe that the actual leak came from an Obama holdover at the NSA. I am going to presume that that was done with McMaster's knowledge, probably at his direction. He was the man with the greatest single motive here. On the other hand, technically, the President of the United States does have the authority to declassify information. And in this case, this was not exactly a secret, having been reported in all of the newspapers. So this is a classic example of manufactured fake news put out there in a timely fashion to blunt the impact of the Seth Rich breaking story. Typical Washington Post, which has long been almost the house organ for the Central Intelligence.
That's right. Hide one story that's real with a fake story. But how brazen are they when this is totally fake? The rest of mainstream media is still running with it's real when it's patently total baloney.
You know, last night I was told the editors at the New York Times were trying to deal with, you know, they don't rely on the reporting of other newspapers. They have to rely on their own reporting. This is so obviously a manipulated news story for which, unfortunately, the Washington Post will pay no price. So
that's the thing. They're already complete liars. And here's a few articles for TV viewers and radio listeners. The Express. This is in April. ISIS bomb makers created laptop bombs to fool airport security checks. Boom. Here's another one. ISIS can make laptop bombs that evade airport security. How they learned about it? From the intelligence of the raids that Trump ordered. That was in the news. He's the president. They decided to release that info so the airports know he's the president. Exactly. He has power outside the other two branches. He can do what he wants. There's this idea to paralyze him, Roger, that he can't ever visit with the Russians. He can't ever meet with anybody because every time he does, they claim he's behind the scenes selling us out when he's doing the opposite.
Well, and in fact, the focus here is exactly the opposite of what it should be. The president should order the FBI to find the leakers. That's the crime. That's the only crime.
Absolutely. Well, how dare Trump say the sun was in the sky this morning? He's not allowed to say that. That's classified. All right, here is McMaster scurrying out yesterday. We don't want to make him a villain. It's just more and more it compounds. He does whatever he wants. Trump's very unhappy with him. He scurries out. This is ridiculous. I was there. There was no classified intel. And, of course, the NSA knows. Him talking about laptop bombs were released by him on purpose 2 months ago to show the intel that we got on the raid that killed the Navy SEAL. And so everybody knows, look out for laptops. Look out if they're not operating right. They could have a bomb in it. That's all over the news. It's like saying, ladies and gentlemen, Trump to the Russians leaked intel. We're really upset right now.
Yeah.
He leaked that in the 2016 Super Bowl champions were the New England Patriots. Can you believe that in 2017 he leaked the Super Bowl champions 2016?
It's so obviously manufactured.
But wait a minute. He leaked that they won the Super Bowl 4 months ago. This is treason, bro.
Yeah. It's like an Alice in Wonderland world there in Washington, where the newspaper of record in the nation's capital is really just talking points against Donald Trump.
You say it all the time. The Washington Post is worse than the Onion.
It really is, and it is less credible than the Onion.
All right, I'm going to plug here, but when we come back, we're going to get to all of the breakdown, your prediction, what happened last night. We got confronted. So much more coming up today with Roger Stone. We're talking about the next shoe to drop. They're clearly going after trying to destroy Trump. Why? What do we do to stop it? But first, as I mentioned it, here is the head of the National Security Advisor to the President, McMaster.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I just have a brief statement for the record. There's nothing that the president takes more seriously than the security of the American people. The story that came out tonight, as reported, is false. The president and the foreign minister reviewed a range of common threats to our two countries, including threats to civil aviation. At no time were intelligence sources or methods discussed. And the president did not disclose any military operations that were not already publicly known. Two other senior officials who were present, including the Secretary of State, remember the meeting the same way and have said so. Their on-the-record accounts should outweigh those of anonymous sources. And I was in the room. It didn't happen.
Oh, he's the savior of the president. Thank God he's there. They all know they're putting out this story that's totally and completely idiotic and made up. But they already said the Russians were planting bugs in the room. There were no other photographers because he was secretly in there, you know, performing fellatio on them. I mean, this is the biggest load of manure. But like you said, the Washington Post won't get in trouble now.
Well, and it's got two purposes. One, it helps save McMaster's job because he is clearly has his head on the chopping block. So now it's very difficult for the president to get rid of him. But it also helps the national narrative that they're putting out there to discredit the president, that he is, you know, that he's unstable. Yesterday, as you know, Alex, there was a video that alleges the president has Alzheimer's. I predict to you this is the next false narrative of the deep state and their allies in the mainstream media.
When he has super stamina and works 18 hours a day. We're going to play that clip coming up, actually, a little bit later in this hour. All right, Roger, we're going to break it all down in the next segment. A bunch of clips, your predictions, where this is all going straight ahead. Before we go any further, we have been developing this product for several years with Dr. Group. It's called Z-Shield because heavy metals, toxins in the environment are one of the biggest things facing our cells, facing our health. And we have a lot of great products like X2 that helps pull garbage out of the body, obviously purifying your water. That's very, very important. We have the Parasite Cleanse, a lot of other products at InfoWarsLife.com. But Z-Shield is rolling out today. toxic metal and chemical defense support. And it's extremely concentrated with a bunch of known ingredients like zeolites and shilajit, as well as organic lavage root, organic cleaver's herb, tamarind fruit, organic orange peel, organic cilantro, organic milk thistle, fulvic and humic acid to help you upload it better, and again, zeolites concentrate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I take a couple times a week. Some people take it more. It is just absolutely the common sense thing to do. It is the strongest product out there from our research. There are other similar products out there. There's a lot of other, systems in the herbs and in the supplements that do similar things. There's a lot of things medically out there you can look into, a lot of chelators and things. This is a well-known field, but this is a supplement. Still consult your physician before you use it, but these are well-known, documented things that have been really associated with detoxifying the body. The new product is available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com, and your purchase also supports this broadcast that is in the eye of the storm, taking on the New World Order toe-to-toe and having a big effect. We're hitting major damages on the globalists. We're causing them a lot of trouble, but we're taking enemy fire as well. So be sure and check out our newest product at InfoWarsLife.com. It's Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical defense support at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. We'll be back on the other side. Stay with us. Points that need to be gotten into here. I mean, look, they hired this top Democrat crisis manager to, quote, take over statements for the family in Seth Rich's death. We have other folks, friends of D.C.-linked lawyer that was suing over it being stolen from Bernie. Sean Lucas freaked out by his death. We've got a bunch of other deaths going on. I mean, this smells.
Yeah, you have Alex, the deaths of Seth Rich, John Ash, and Sean Lucas in short order, all of them connected to the heist of the Democratic national nomination by Hillary with the inside mole assistance of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So, and when you raise this publicly, these are 3 deaths, you're immediately smeared as a conspiracy theorist. Well, if it were 1 death, perhaps you'd say, all right, a coincidence. 3 deaths? Really? I don't think it's unreasonable to scratch your head and say, why are 3 insiders with intimate knowledge of the machinations at the DNC that stole this nomination for Hillary now pushing up daisies? That's entirely...
I'll tell you this, Assange has got giant eggs, because if you look at this, he knows it's hurting Hillary. She's degenerating under the stress daily. Whatever's in these emails has got her scared to death. You can see it. She looks like a cornered, hairless rat. They're totally freaking out, and Assange is just pushing and playing chicken with these folks. That was August 13th of 2016, about a month after the DNC. And, of course, Seth Rich had been executed. And now here we are a year later, or close to it, and you notice that it's all coming out. If you just joined us, we have a former NYPD detective as a private investigator hired by the family, saying he's talked to the police and others and the FBI. They've been told stand down at the local D.C. Police Department, and the word is on that laptop is Seth Rich in communication with Julian Assange. He was not robbed. He was executed, shot repeatedly in the back. Now, 30 minutes after that broke on local D.C. news, I got to hand it to them. They had a lot of courage. The spin machine went into high gear, and we're told then that Trump didn't just help plant listening devices with the Russians in the Oval Office. He didn't just, cause the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 in a time machine. He didn't just not let any press in, which wasn't true either. No, ladies and gentlemen, none of that happened. But they don't care. The Washington Post comes out. They cheer their big lie. They cheer this record traffic they're reportedly getting. That's in the news. In their newsroom. Yay! We lied about him. We don't care. And it turns out Trump was talking about the raids that the Navy SEALs and others carried out that got them intel from the laptops that they were planning to put bombs on them. That they were planning ISIS and Al-Qaeda to use laptops as bombs. And it turns out that's been all over the news for a very, very, very long time. So think about that. It's been on the news since April and March of this year. But they come out and say Trump revealed highly classified information to Russian foreign minister and ambassador. And then the media is now debating whether it's real or not when there's no debating that Trump talked to them about, hey, did you see the intel we got about, you know, the laptop bombs? That helps Russia as well, doesn't it? Because Trump was proud of it back at the time. You want people to know about the new threat so something can be done about it. The president can declassify whatever he wants, but it was declassified back after it happened, talking about the Navy SEAL losing his life to get the valuable intel. This is incredible that they would lie so obviously, so ridiculously. There's NBC News. I guess they're traitors too. ISIS could plant bombs in planes, driving new rules, officials. And that, again, ladies and gentlemen, the date on that is April and March, both of those. You can go through and check that, hidden in laptop batteries. And, of course, that was the January 29th raid, and it came out in April. NBC News, ABC News, CBS News. That was in March, that particular article. I mean, this is a fact, Roger. The very same reporters at the New York Times and Washington Post that reported on the laptop bombs, I have it right here out of the Washington Post, are the same ones now attacking Trump. It's like the same ones that said Trump was wiretapped, then come out and say they never said it and Trump's crazy on CNN. This is insane. It's like saying you're not Roger Stone or I'm not Alex Jones in front of God and country. We're obviously liars if we said that, but we're not liars.
Now, let me make a couple points here. First of all, the whole Trump sells out the country narrative is an outright lie. This is a hit piece by an opposition rag, but it's not a blunder. And when the rest of the media picks it up, that makes it propaganda because they are like the birds jumping off the telephone wire. There's no equivalency between sharing information and divulging secrets. In fact, if anyone checks the law, there's no such thing as a classified information when it comes to the president. He has the absolute right to divulge anything. Obama did it routinely. So you can see that this is a manufactured story.
It's a hysteria.
It is. And frankly, the Russians are doing a better job at beating ISIS than we are. And if this helps defeat ISIS, where is the detriment to the United States? Where's the harm to the United States? How ironic that the Washington Post, the story that blew the cover-up on the 1972 election, is helping extend the cover-up into the truth about the 2016 election, i.e., using this story to block the news of the new revelations regarding the murder of Seth Rich.
And it's true. As bad as the New York Times is, they have some real journalists there. The Washington Post is leading the way in pure deception, and they were even quoted in articles of last week at the National Press Dinner, White House Press Dinner that President Trump wasn't at, saying, we have a duty to bring him down. We're going to bring him down. And then they all decide to lie. There's even been articles in the news, one was in the New York Times, saying it's time to go ahead and just lie because it's the right thing to do. I don't get it. This is, let me ask you this, Roger. Where does this go next? How does this tie into the FBI director? How does this tie into the future of this country? Because these are such crazed people where they just use anonymous sources that then put out patent disinfo that the second I heard he divulged the Yemen raid about ISIS plans to use laptops for bombs, to put bombs inside laptops, I instantly knew the whole story, instantly knew it was a lie, and which that shows they knew it's all a lie, and they think we're that stupid. What planet, what Alice in Wonderland, as you said, rabbit hole did I just fall down and break my ass?
Look, we know that the Obama plants in the various intelligence agencies are withholding critical information from the president. It's not because he lacks the clearance or isn't entitled to it. It's because they are treasonous vipers who are looking for the most opportune moment to strike. The FBI director now becomes crucial for several reasons. One, the FBI must lead the investigation into the murder of Seth Rich. The president has that authority. Secondarily, the FBI needs to find the leakers of this information. Who in the NSA? Which Obama holdover?
And let's be clear, they use the national security to put out lies. Because it's not even real leaks, it's false leaks.
The most troubling thing that I have seen is the list of would-be FBI directors. To a man and woman, they are establishment insiders.
And I'm told the president doesn't like this list.
No, I have my sources tell me that the president likes the idea of former New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, someone that he knows personally. The president doesn't know or have confidence in any.
Why did Gowdy say that he's not the right man for the job?
That was disappointing because
I think it means he can't help but just totally go after the Democrats.
Well, frankly, we need Gowdy in the faux Russian collusion dust.
And by the way, he and Nunes have seen all the intel. It's total bull. In fact, it's the opposite. The Trump's all being spied on, and the true story is, again, illegal spying. Oh, Scalia, before he died, came out and said, I'm being spied on by Obama, and they're blackmailing people, which we already knew.
Well, look, this is not surprising. They spied on James Rosen, the Fox reporter who covers the White House. They wiretapped him illegally. That is a much bigger crime than Watergate. How do journalists feel about the wiretapping of a journalist? It is incredible that we're looking at an FBI. There are people on this list who denied that the president was surveilled when we know now definitively that that is not the case.
And we knew from the very same New York Times reporters that said that didn't happen a month later, they reported it did. And then they say it's fake news. InfoWars says we had a cover that said wiretap, and we have the physical newspaper.
Yes,
we covered it, you and I, on the 20th. We covered it live in D.C. because you were in there.
Adding insult to injury, this morning, Congressman Eric Swalwell from California was on with Morning Joe. Now, Joe Scarborough may be upset with me because on this show, I revealed that he had a text relationship with Jared Kushner, and that Kushner was lagging negative stories about Steve Bannon that Scarborough was delightfully putting out. I have confirmed that on both ends of the transmission. So they put Swalwell on this morning to repeat yet again the lie that Roger Stone knew in advance about the release of information regarding Hillary Clinton. This is very much like this story, Alex. Yeah, I knew it. WikiLeaks posted it on their Twitter feed on July 31st.
It's the same crap. It's the same crap.
So, I am anxious to confront Mr. Swalwell. This guy is a mannequin he's a one-trick pony, and that trick seems to be lying about me over and over again. I'm still hopeful, Alex, that I will be allowed to testify.
Let me just raise this. How bombshell is it that you've got a respected former NYPD detective who's a investigator hired by the family? He says, yeah, I've talked to the police. They've been told to stand down. Yes, he was in contact with Assange. We have Assange basically in a bunch of clips saying, we never give up sources, but he probably could have been our source. We're just going to stop right there. Well, I think Assange needs to come out now for his safety, everybody's. It's not giving up a source if the person's been killed and shot in the back. I understand technically he can say we never give it up, but that becomes almost like Asperger's disorder or something, where someone just refuses to, go with the actual spirit of the law, the spirit of the agreement. I mean, if I was a source for a big story and then I get killed, please release that I was the source. Obviously, you are released from your agreement not to release a source if the source is a hero killed in the service to the Republic and not a Russian, you notice.
Well, and also, why has the New York Times never reported that the British diplomat Craig Murray has said repeatedly
that he's met with the U.S. intelligence agency leaker and that it is not a Russian?
And he also went so far as to imply that it was Seth Rich, who he met in a parking lot near American University.
Yes.
So we believe that some of these documents...
Seth Rich was a good Democrat that read all this evil about let's keep people poor, in the dark, let's have race war, let's steal more Haitian money. Hey, we got kids ready for you in the hot tub.
No, the most important thing Seth Rich knew was that they stopped the vote count in Iowa.
They stole it from Sanders.
If they had not stopped the vote count, Bernie Sanders would have won the Iowa caucuses and Hillary Clinton would have been toast as far as
they stopped. They said the vote the day before California didn't count, and that donors had met with Hillary and they decided it was her.
So it is. This is a guy who acted on the basis of conscience, who saw the Democratic Party that he believed in being hijacked by the Clintons and Deborah Wasserman Schultz. Incidentally, a number of local Republicans in Fort Lauderdale are urging me to challenge Deborah Wasserman Schultz. I'm not really candidate material, but if it served the purpose of exposing her and her role in undermining the progressives in the party.
Yeah, if you were the weapon to just expose her and then get a patriot elected, that'd be great.
I would have to think about it. I'd have to think
or maybe just win for real, be the kamikaze.
Well, it's a terrible district. It was kind of custom drawn for her. She is a terror. She's a horrific person. I might just think about it.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up. a little bit in the next hour. Then we're going to go tape a big special piece for the Nightly News this evening. We appreciate Roger being here. We're working so hard. We appreciate all you and your support. But let's go over some more of these clips. In fact, since we mentioned Assange, Julian Assange on Seth Rich, here's just one of the many places, like Hannity, you name it, where he basically said, look, I don't want to say he's our source, but he very well could be the source. And the word is Seth Rich was the source, and now you have a detective saying that, and people dying, and the family that hired him now backing off. Because let me tell you, I've talked to people that met with the widow of folks that, Michael Hastings, people whose cars blow up as they drive down the road. And at first, they're at the funeral saying, oh, yeah, they killed him. I'm going to go public. Or, there was foul play. They're going to pay. And then she goes on Piers Morgan and says, oh, no, it was no big deal. Totally natural causes. And she was a top person as a support aide on the National Security Council. So from the intel we've got, she's a higher-level spook. So was he. He found out stuff so bad, he had a conscience. Michael Hastings, he went public, and then his car blew up and shot the engine 100 yards down the road, something that's impossible unless there's a bomb. And he called people that I know and said, I'm being chased. They're trying to kill me. It's Homeland Security. Obama has a special unit of hitmen. Get the data out. But the data didn't get out. So that's what happens with these families. And I think that may have happened here. We'll get Roger's take on that. But here's Julian Assange.
In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
All right, and then we have Podesta emails in WikiLeaks where he says, I'd like to make an example of these leakers. It's on Paul Watson's article today on InfoWars. Whether they're guilty or not, I don't even care. Let's just start making examples now, and then you see what happens to Rich. But we always play that clip, and then that's okay. But I saw it on Hannity, or one of the clips where he said, I'm saying he could be our source. Assange said he could be our source.
He offered a $25,000 reward. Why would you offer a reward for someone who was not your source?
But now we have the detective saying the police said there's a cover-up.
The point is they're asking us to ignore logic. In other words, the guy who's the head of the department from whom the documents leak is murdered, and we're supposed to expect that there's nothing suspicious about that.
That's right. There's Podesta. I'm definitely for making an example of suspected leaker, whether or not we have any real basis for it. That's right. Just make an example, even if he's not the one. All right. We got some big news here. We're going to break down here in just a moment. We have a new product. This is the 36th product we have developed in the last 4.5 years for InfoWarsLife.com. It's Z-Shield. Concentrated zeolites, shilajit, and a bunch of other key herbs to a very thick, powerful oil. This isn't, filler with alcohol. This is just pure oils and pure compounds from Mother Nature and some acids that help uptake. It's amazing for heavy metal and toxin removal out of the body. This is something similar to what they have in, clinics in Europe. But research it for yourself. The organic lavage root, organic cleavers, tamarind fruit, organic orange peel, organic cilantro, organic milk thistle seed, fulvic and humic acid, Shilajit, and zeolite concentrates. The new product, Z-Shield, available at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. By the way, we're selling, because they're popular again, at cost, Donald Trump's My President, navy blue, election-style shirts to trigger folks and to spread the word and to meet like-minded people and to stand for these bullies. When these 3 new shirts are sold out, they're limited edition, that's it. You know, we had the Trump is My President red shirt that was so popular. That's gone. That's history. We now have the navy blue with Infowars.com on the shoulder. Trump pins 2020. We have Trump is My President. We have 3 different shirts, and when they're gone, they're gone. They're $4.95. That is cost at InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And absolutely a part of history and support the InfoWar. Really, it's supporting free speech because this is a lost leader.
These T-shirts are going to end up in the Smithsonian Institute. There's no doubt about it. They just like the iconic Clinton rape T-shirt, these are going to be collector's items. Years from now, you will have this to pass on to your grandchildren and say, you were in the revolution.
Whether we won or lost. Now, I want to bring that up a little bit in the next hour. How do we win? What's the next shoe to drop? Clearly, we're in a civil war already, an information war. They're discredited, but they're so hubris-filled they don't care. You've got this weird club that these guys are in that you're going to be talking about, Brennan and others and McMaster. But before we go there, you've got the Washington Post and others saying in the news at the White House Correspondents' Dinner without the president there, our job is to destroy the president and bring him down. We're going to do it. We don't care. And then they put out a fake story that he's got putting listening devices in, and that's not true. So then he's leaking classified info, and that's not true. It's laptop info that's been in the news for months that Trump's allowed to release. He's the president. All this is going on. They're chomping at the bit. You've got Schumer saying, president better watch it. We got 6 ways to Sunday the intelligence community to get back at you. Yeah, we see. You're the hijackers. You're the foreign globalists. You're the people trying to bring our country down, telling us our American president is the problem. Here's Chucky Schumer. So what do we do about these traitors? Here's Schumer.
Take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think?
So what does Trump do about the flying monkeys?
That was an admission that the intelligence agencies are not under civilian control. I mean,
they're rogue flying monkeys.
I mean, Chuck just kind of in this smarmy kind of way, just spit it right out there.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of scum threatening us. They believe they own us. They want our guns. They want our kids. They're going to teach our 5-year-olds, you know, how to give blowjobs. That's what, I mean, they want to destroy the country. What do we do with a bunch of brazen, crazy megalomaniacs like Chucky Schumer, a flying monkey, that came flying out of Barack Obama's butt?
First of all, you need a reinvigorated non-political FBI that can ferret out actual crimes, including these leaks. That's why the selection of the FBI director is going to be a crucial question. The other thing, Alex, that is related to this, the upcoming release of the John F. Kennedy assassination document.
That's an example. The president has his own branch of government. And they've got him where he won't even meet with Putin. Sorry. But shouldn't he just meet with Putin and call this out now?
Look.
Shouldn't Putin just fly here right now?
Putin, look, Trump wants peace with Russia. Peace is accomplished through increased trust. Trust is accomplished through cooperation.
And they won't let us cooperate. Here's the deal. The globalists are the enemy. They're the ones screwing us over, not the Russians. The enemy is Michael Moore, Chucky Schumer, and all the other flying monkeys. Flying monkey control freaks. We'll be right back, Roger. 70 seconds with Roger Stone, Stone Zone, StoneColdTruth.com. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. I'm Alex Jones, your host. Here is, months ago, Chucky Schumer threatening President-elect Donald Trump. You better do whatever we say, buddy, or we'll smack you upside the head. Because without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have the made-up Russian narrative. And now the Washington Post, he's hiding. They're hiding devices. I mean, I'm expecting they're going to claim that Trump's actually, you know, wearing a Russian bug, you know, down his throat or something. That's all made-up baloney. And they never get in trouble. There's no consequences to any of this lying. Here's Chucky Schumer.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
I'll get you.
So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but I don't know.
Ask Jack Kennedy what they would do.
They are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going on. Look at the Russian hacking.
We need them.
Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Roger, I want to be clear.
Discovered what, Senator? Do you have some proof of Russian hacking so you could produce it if you have some?
Why is Schumer not in Hollywood? He would be the ultimate psychopath, villain, child molester, kidnapper in Hollywood. I'm not saying he's a child molester. I'm not saying he's a kidnapper.
But he could play one.
He literally comes off as like, he could play. He could go back to the 1930s Wizard of Oz. I'll get you and your little dog. I'll get your Constitution, my pretty. No, go get them all. Take their children, destroy their economy, and get their guns. And that little president thinks he'll show them the way. Go to the Emerald City and burn it all down. Chucky Schumer, I'm so scared of you, Chucky.
That's pretty good. Chuck Schumer is one of the most odious individuals in the world. He has an inherent interest in knowing who the U.S. attorney is for New York, for the New York district.
We have an elite that just wants to piss on America because we're the alpha. Why don't the elite just get out of the way and end this? We can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
Chuck Schumer, the most dangerous place in Washington, Alex, is between Chuck Schumer and a television camera. I want to raise this question, though. Why is it that General Mattis, General McMaster, John Brennan, formerly of the CIA, Michael Hayden, former of the CIA, and James Clapper, why do these guys all have shaved heads?
Because that's part of being a leather daddy.
Is it some secret club or something that they're in? I mean, it is just, it defies, you know, the odds of coincidence that every one of these guys have the same kind of look. There it is. Extraordinary. By the way, his smirk at the end of this kind of gives the whole thing away.
He looks like he could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Look at the way he smirks when it's over, thinking, wow, we pulled this off. Now my job might be safe for another couple weeks.
Sorry.
I mean, look, he is
Look at that.
Temperamentally not fit for this job, sadly.
I got into that a little bit too much.
Well, the choice is, I mean, again,
these things must be done delicately.
The president needs to clean house.
Look at this guy.
I mean, he needs to clean house.
You know, possums like to climb into like dead animals on the side of the road.
You know, the left is having a spasm. They're unhinged. They're acting like the president handed Putin the nuclear codes. I mean,
well, they're acting like Putin's, because they're the foreign globalists selling the country out, so they have to just then pick Russia and claim, oh, it's a foreign power, because they're the globalist foreign power, and Trump's kicking out the multinational pieces of garbage.
This is why I think the Russian collusion issue is going to be critical. This is how you break the back of both the mainstream media that has run with this and the intelligence services which have manufactured it. They have nothing. They have zero.
I agree. I want to come back and ask you the next shoe to drop, because you told me last night, and you said you talk about it on there. I mean, I think there's a good chance they'll bring Trump down. The problem is then that'll cause a civil war. These people are so crazy. They're so full of chutzpah, bravado, false confidence that, I mean, I know they all got Mr. Clean shave. I'm not against people that have shaved heads, but there's a little something going on there. I guess because they put their heads before David Rockefeller died, like in his butt or something. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. I'm out of control. I'm obviously trying to feed the trolls right now. Roger Stone's with us, another segment that he's going to tape, a powerful piece, which is going to be Roger Stone Unchained. Just true flow, not an interviewer, but Roger in there absolutely annihilating the globalists. I'm Alex Jones, your host. I'm with the anti-villain Roger Stone over here. That's why they call him a villain, because of the fake news. We've got so much to break down here today. Coming up after Roger leaves us, Globalist Mag claims American Revolution was a mistake. That's a close quote. I saw the Boston Globe a few years ago actually had a debate they hosted about getting rid of the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, and then it was wrong to secede from England. They narrowly voted, though, in the little contest they had to stay in America. So they're patriots, I guess. You just barely want to stay in America. But here it is. We could have been Canada. Was the American Revolution such a good idea? This is what we get from the New Yorker magazine that was saying that they're organizing the overthrow of Trump in Congress bipartisanly. And so because America, it has George Washington standing on top of a pile of chains and skulls, literally saying we're the devil. They're the ones claiming Trump's the enemy because he loves America. They're the anti-Americans, and they project who they are onto us. I just can't handle it anymore.
And the coming narrative for the globalists and the two-party duopoly, the political establishment, is Donald Trump is insane. It's not that he's crazy. It's that he has Alzheimer's, and it's in the advanced stages. This is nonsense. This is a lie. But mark my words, this is the new meme of the far left. This is the new meme of those who would essentially just depose him and remove him from power under the 25th Amendment.
Every time I've talked to Trump, he brings up something I said on the show or the last thing we talked about a month before. And it's just like, what are you even doing calling up, congratulating me that I got remarried? How'd you even know this? And the media around like, oh, Alex doesn't want Donald Trump. He didn't want Trump on his show. No, it's the opposite. He's too important. He's too busy. I was like, sir, don't worry about it. He said he'd come on in a few weeks. I said, don't worry about it, sir. And then they turned that into, I don't want Trump, and I like backslapped him. Again, the opposite of reality.
He has a phenomenal memory. I've known him for 40 years. I see no evidence whatsoever that he is not as sharp as he has.
But Nancy Pelosi thinks Bush is still in office in 3 different interviews. And
Maxine Waters thinks Ukraine is part of Russia. So
worse than that. Well, it actually is, at least the east of it. It's worse. She thinks Putin invaded Korea.
That's correct. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm ranting. Go ahead.
No, this is going to be a major drive by the left, Alex. They are going to try to now go for broke. Trump is insane, and he has to be removed.
By the way, I forgot to tell them, what's the name of the video? We'll pull it up. The one where they're claiming is he's listening to somebody that he has Alzheimer's. What's the name of the video? Trump Signs of Alzheimer's, I think?
Yes, it is out yesterday.
So you guys pull it up. We'll play it in the background. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, this is going to be a major thrust. For those who don't know how the 25th Amendment works, if a majority of the Trump cabinet and the vice president determine that the president does not have the mental capacity to carry out the duties of the job, he's removed. Now, if he seeks to fight it, it goes to the U.S. House of Representatives for a vote, where Paul Ryan would stab him right in the
by the way, Paul Ryan came out yesterday and said he wants answers and backed it up that Trump's a Russian agent. I am so sick of this Russian stuff. We're restoring the republic. We put $3 trillion in the stock market. You did, listeners. $300 billion in new jobs, securing the borders, returning the republic, rebuilding the military, cutting the UN funding, getting a conservative to the Supreme Court. If that's Russian, then I want to be under Russian rule. But it's not. It's people saying we don't want to be America, merge with world government, become socialist. Oh, but Trump's anti-American. No, they're anti-American. They're the plague. Sorry.
In the 1950s, they accused us, conservatives, of red baiting, of demagoguery. And it
was true. They were horrible anti-American filth, beavering away like termites.
But now it's a complete role reversal. Now,
but they weren't Russians. They were commies.
Exactly. And anyone who isn't for war over Syria with the Russians is now a Russian agent, a traitor to the United States.
The liberal New York garbage system took over Russia and turned it into that and has been trying to do us the whole time. It wasn't the Russians. The globalists captured Russia and used it as a tool to run around murdering everybody. Can't we see? And they want full control of this country.
You saw the left whining about the blacklist of the 1930s and again in the 50s forever. Now their blacklist that includes people like Alex Jones and other patriots.
It's a real blacklist.
It's a blacklist, which is based on circumventing the First Amendment and a free press in this
Let's just tell Soros, Brock, and all of them, we're beating you. You'll never defeat America. You'll never mount our head on the wall. Roger, join me. America will defeat you. Join me in this. Come on, Roger.
All right.
There you go.
David Brock, this is just for you.
Yeah.
We're having a good time here today.
You'll never defeat America. Sorry.
But this idea that the American Revolution...
No, you will. Sorry.
The idea that the American Revolution was a mistake, Alex, this is so elitist.
This red-blooded freedom we got that everybody wants, that's not a mistake. You're a mistake.
The highest standard of living
Best part of you ran down the ass crack of your mother, Brock. Sorry, go ahead.
Look.
All right, I'm out of control. I apologize to Christian stations. I'm going to control myself. Because this country is in total war, and I'm sick of it. Go ahead.
Look, nobody's taken more of the brunt of this than I have. Look, I cannot wait to confront that preening, whining, pain in the ass Adam Schiff. This guy is the worst stiff I've ever seen. He makes George Bush look like a party animal. I mean, if you watch the guy, he is oozing insincerity. And in March, he said that he had seen conclusive evidence of Russian hacking, a Russian interference in the election. And then in April, he said to Real Clear Politics, he had seen no evidence of Russian collusion.
I saw conclusive.
Schiff, what is it?
I saw conclusive proof that.
This guy's so full of Schiff, his eyes are brown.
I was about to say, he is full of Schiff.
Indeed.
You have done well, Stone. Why do I feel so fired up right now?
Look, I have to assume the Democrats are afraid to face me. They keep saying they want me to testify, but there's no invitation. And I've made it clear I don't need a subpoena. Alex doesn't need a subpoena. They've accused him of being a Russian agent. When do we get our day in the court of public?
Can you imagine, like, the Russians trying to tell me what to do?
Well, or that they're financing all of these bots when it's David Brock and the Soros flying monkeys who have the bots out spewing hate, spewing dissension, spewing revolution against the American government and the U.S. Constitution. That's where we are.
I totally agree with you. Here's a breakdown of us last night. McMaster exposed as White House leaker. Here's a clip from our live feed about an hour after it came out with Roger and I. Here it is. So now they come out and today, the Washington Post, and say anonymous source. They didn't say an anonymous source, says that Donald Trump's a good president or something. It's an anonymous source. He's in the meeting, and he starts giving him secrets about al-Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. First off, we've been working with the Russians for 4 or 5 years, 3 years intensely to take out ISIS and al-Qaeda. That's on the news. Secondarily, Trump's destroying them. It's Obama and Hillary that helped empower them and put them in charge. Trump's cleaning that up. So the claim that he's helping ISIS and al-Qaeda is just horse manure. Everybody knows that. He's the one that exposed them, selling the oil, selling the organs. Roger's about to break this down. So I just had the instinct. I said, there's only 3 Americans in the room. And they're saying we won't say who else was in the room except for the 2 Russians. There's 5 people in the room, including the president. Who has the history of doing it? We've been figuring McMaster is even worse. Who has the motive? Who has the motive? He's about to be removed. McMaster's about to be removed. So now he's the savior from his own leak to the Washington Post that's incredibly corrupt with Jeff Bezos and run by deep state. He comes out. He then says, oh, the president didn't do this. I was there. It's made up. This is perfect to make him look into the president, but I think Trump will see through it. I made phone calls to high-level folks. They said, that's the thinking right now. Then I met Roger about an hour ago for dinner. He said, I'm on the phone with the New York Times, other sources. He went and made the calls, came back, and said, that is what the thinking is right now. In fact, they know where the leak came from as an agency. So we've honed it down. Roger Stone's about to give you the exclusive. Did McMaster leak to then pose him as the savior so that Trump won't fire him? Roger Stone.
Alex Jones is essentially correct. First of all, it's important the American people know that this is completely false. Donald Trump did not divulge classified information to the Russians. If he spoke about the efforts by ISIS to use personal computers as bombs and get them onto airplanes, there would nothing be inappropriate about that. You can read about that in the newspapers.
6 months ago.
We know that the leak came out of NSA, and by process of elimination and looking at everyone who was in the room, there's only one man who has a motive. This is designed to make Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, indispensable and to stop the effort to remove him from his current job, kick him over to the Pentagon, and give him the 4th star. Interestingly enough, the military types don't want him at the Pentagon. I think the president, in his wisdom, will see through this, and it's time to send Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, packing.
All right, and that's just part of it. We should recap here, Roger, and then come back to one more segment, and then Dr. Group's coming in here about what happened. This laptop with bombs inside of it that was already in the news. This is totally made up. For me, it's just crazy that they would be this brazen.
Well, but again, this couldn't have been possible if there wasn't a leak from the room. The president cannot get confidentiality out of his own government. He had the authority to tell the Russians this. He didn't divulge anything harmful to the United States. He is trying to foster a better relationship with the Russians, which is what peace is about. The left is supposed to believe in peace, but actually they're the ones who believe in war. And because people that the president has chosen are disserving him, the focus is completely wrong. The focus should not be on what the president did. The focus should be on who leaked this so they can be fired and prosecuted.
That's right. Roger, I want to come back and talk about the next shoes to drop, the new attacks they've got planned, how you think we defeat them straight ahead. But they're all over the news saying, end America, join with Canada, join the world government, George Washington's bad, New Yorker magazine saying this now. These people literally hate America. They know we love America, so they use all this Trump's anti-America, hoping we get on some bandwagon. As they try to organize a coup against the president, it shows how desperate they are. We'll be right back, and we'll take your phone calls as well. Stay with us. But I got wise. You're the devil in disguise. Oh, yes, you are. Devil in disguise. You know, they have that line in The Hobbit where he says, or I guess it's The Lord of the Rings. He says, you look foul, but you feel fair. Whereas he looks fair, but feels foul. You got to worry about people that don't say they got villain in them, but say they're these little angels. They walk like an angel. They talk like an angel. But I got wise. They're devils in disguise. Chucky Schumer, Obama, they're all arrogant. They're all decided to wage war against the president, America. They hate this country. In closing, Roger Stone, before Dr. Grip comes in, thanks for coming to town. It's been amazing. I know you're going back tonight. How do we defeat this? How do we save this president? He's not going to be perfect. And if we abandon him, then the globalists could take him down even easier. So for me, it's a no-brainer. This guy's under attack because he's so real. And if we're idiots and don't back him to the hilt, then we deserve what we get.
This is a question of the president finding the levers of power. He has the power to control the leaks. He has the power to change the direction of the federal government. He has the power to change the direction of the federal judiciary.
But they're in mass mutiny.
But it's just a question of him finding the levers of power. Unfortunately, he has chosen a White House staff that doesn't have a clue, not a clue. And until he can get control of his own government and oust the Obama holdover appointees who are leaking like a sieve.
And isn't that paradoxical, though? He's doing a great job on his policies, but then he's doing horrible in who he brought in. Why?
Well, the people who are in charge of carrying out those policies essentially refused to do so because they were appointed by Barack Obama. Because no one in the Trump entourage knew that you had to have a plan in place immediately to position and place the assistant secretaries. You couldn't expect Trump to know this. He is not a veteran Washington politician.
Oh, I study it. I know that.
It's a shame he didn't choose a chief of staff who knew it, because this is the logjam. This is why we're having the leaks, because we don't have a Trump administration. We still have the Obama administration.
We need to start prosecuting those deputy secretaries.
Well, what we really need to do, if we're going to prosecute, if we want to send a signal to the base, if you want to send a signal to the American people.
Lock her up.
Yes, absolutely. They need to impanel a grand jury and bring Bill and Hillary and Chelsea.
If anybody ever needed to go to prison from politics, it's that sickening, ugly, twisted, arrogant, entitled couple.
Indeed. And, if you go to chargehillaryclinton.com, if you want to sign the petition that we're going to send to the president, telling him to order the attorney general to impanel this grand jury and do what the president pledged to do in the campaign.
And by the way, that is a good-looking pinstripe suit.
Why, thank you very much.
And, of course, you pointed out, I did it for them, the media's been saying you dress like the Riddler. He has patches on, little question marks. That's the Joker, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I dress like the Joker, not the Riddler. How insulting. That's really insulting.
Well, let's just be honest. What is my style? Kind of German farmhand. This is just some guy going to Baptist church on Sunday.
This is a pure Austin. You got the Austin, Texas thing going on.
Well, I mean, I got a 20-inch neck, so you got a big neck too. It's hard to get the get the tie around the neck.
Hey, you know what works for me would not necessarily work for you. If you dress like this, you'd look ridiculous.
That's Joker purple, though.
It is. That's why I wore it.
So I'm guessing. I know you read the article. It said you're the Riddler. And
when I was at the Nixon Library commencement dinner, I sat next to Cesar Romero, and I couldn't think of anything to say. So I said to him, Mr. Romero, you were the greatest Joker of all time. I mean, Jack Nicholson, he was terrible. These other guys, they couldn't hold a candle to you. And he said, son, people tell me that every single day. He was a great man, Cesar Romero, a conservative Republican, a true believing patriot, and one of the biggest movie stars of the 1930s.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to come back and get into the waterfront here. It's just, for me, I got really angry earlier, then I got in a good mood. Tends to go that way. Just that it's all over the news that he talked about the laptop bombs. That was all over the news. He's the president. He's allowed to do that. He released it 2 months ago when he was allowed to. when they were pointing out, oh, you got this Navy SEAL killed, you're this horrible traitor. No, we got intel on their next plans, on their bomb-making factories, and now it's been confirmed that they've been trying to do that. It's in ISIS training videos. It's in ISIS training videos. It's in hundreds of news articles. He talks about it with the Russians, and he's a traitor. The Washington Post should get in big trouble with some cultural agency. You know, they should pay for what they've done.
There he is, Cesar Romero.
I mean, seriously, it's just the arrogance.
Well, but in this particular case, the president was already angry at the Washington Post. Now I guarantee you he is furious. They were the worst in the election in terms of...
The Washington Post, I don't mean to be gross, but they're like monkeys at the zoo that just grab stuff and throw it. I mean, they are just making stuff up. Roger Stone, StoneColdTruth.com, Alex Jones with Infowars.com. Stay with us. I got a PJW piece coming up at the start of this segment. Stay with us.
Nazi. And look at these courageous anti-fascists. What's his sign say? Must be something horrible, right? A swastika? Gas the Jews? Heil Hitler? The right to openly discuss ideas must be defended. All right, turns out you guys are behaving like actual Nazis. Yeah, little tip, fellas. The good guys don't normally wear black masks covering their faces.
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't...
Hans, are we the baddies?
I'm still here. I'm still here and I'm still standing up for open discussion.
Why are you defending it? No Nazis! No Nazis! Anyone you're for anyone No platform for racism, no platform for homophobia. This is all Barack. Little fascist. Yeah, fascist.
Yeah, little history lesson, love. Those Nazis that you hate so much. Funny coincidence, because it turns out they were into using intimidation to shut down free speech. You know, exactly like you're doing to this guy.
Nazi! Nazi! Nazi!
I believe in open discussion.
No platform, no Nazis. No platform for white supremacy. No platform. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Look at you, white man. A white male! We try to intimidate people out of speaking based on their skin colour because we're anti-racists.
A platform for hate.
May I respond?
No, I'm not interested.
I believe in open discussion.
I don't care what you believe. I believe no Nazis.
I don't care what you believe. I'm just going to keep repeating the word Nazi over and over again because I'm functionally retarded and don't have an actual argument.
Nazi! Everyone just cover him. Just cover him.
Everyone just cover him, then we won't have to collectively activate our 6 brain cells to have an actual discussion.
We don't want you.
Wait, where the hell did Jeremy Corbyn come from?
You better go. You better go. You better go. We don't want you. You're not welcome here.
You're not welcome here. We're tolerant progressives.
You're not welcome here. They are socially conscious citizens and are provoked by the loathsome presence of an unmutual.
They are sheep.
I mean, we literally employ the tactics of actual fascists, but we're so dumb that if we feign enough righteous indignation, we can delude ourselves into thinking we have the moral high ground.
You are not welcome here.
Welcome.
Go away. Go away.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Go away.
Excuse me.
Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Nazi scum off our street. Nazi scum off our street. Nazi scum off our street.
Nazi scum off our streets! Nazi scum off our streets! Yeah, if that actually happened, the guy with the sign would be the only person left on the frigging street, because you're the actual Nazis.
Nazi.
Are we the baddies?
Now, if you're a radio listener, and we'll put the YouTube video up on screen so I can tell radio listeners how they can find it, and you just heard that. It's powerful, but not as powerful as actually seeing it. You've got a polite, nice man standing on a street in London, close to Downing Street, where people like to protest, holding up a sign saying that we should support the right of free speech. And people come over and actually start assaulting him, screaming, Nazi scum, no, we don't allow free speech. And I've been close to 10 Downing Street, also, though, by Parliament. The left doesn't let you protest or demonstrate or even hold up newspaper articles. They run things. They're the god. they're the boss. And now they're not the left. These are like brainwashed people that are delusional and believe they're the savior. They're the good guys. And then at the end, they actually start assaulting him and grab his sign away, and the police are all around and allow it. And I have stacks of news articles where Muslims in the UK sexually assault women, and the police covered it up. In some cases, little girls by the thousands per town, it's come out. And then they just say, none of this is happening. It doesn't exist. Muslims never rape anybody. Muslims never kill anybody. Muslims never run over anybody. They never shoot anybody. And it's so frustrating that this is the group we're not supposed to talk about. Now, Dr. Group, my good buddy, one of the top formulators at InfoWarsLife.com, is with us to announce the big launch of an amazing new product today that will also intersperse with the news here, and how much heavy metals there are, how many toxins out there, and things that are known to help detoxify the body. But we're going to cover the waterfront here politically, what's happening with Trump. The new product is Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical support defense. And we're going to talk about what Shilajit does, what the concentrated zeolites do, what some of these other herbs and compounds do, and acids that are in it along with it, as we can fight back and also support the operation, but fight back in your own life. And he's got a whole stack of articles about the toxicity and what's happening. We're going to be discussing that for a few minutes here and then plunging back into news. But then I look at stories here. We could have been Canada. Why the American Revolution might have been a bad idea. And so the people claiming Trump's an enemy, patriots are an enemy, people that want sovereignty are enemies, we're the foreign agents because we want a country, when they're the foreign globalist agents that are dissolving the nation states as we know it. And now you have this whole fake controversy, if you just join us with Trump, where the news is still going along like, is it real? Isn't it real? McMaster says it's not real. They had the Yemen raid back on the 29th of January of this year, 5 months ago. And they got the bomb maker data. They're trying to disguise bombs and batteries of laptops, plastic explosives. And then you tell the public that so they know about the threat. The president can declassify what he wants. That was months ago. It came out in April and March. They got the intel in late January. And then they just lie and say he's with the Russians. He gave them secret documents because he just discussed the threat with them, which has been all over the news. We've reached a new level, Dr. Group. What do you make of all this?
It's just lies, 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 and more lies. And it seems like, you know, right now, we've talked like years ago about all the attacks, and what I look at is the attacks on healthcare, the attacks on the American public, the attacks on the earth, the addition of all the chemicals that are being sprayed on us, that are in the food or in the water, that are really, to me, when I look at all the problems that we're dealing with out there, and then you look at the hardcore left Democratic Party right now, I would have never imagined that people could be so evil in their attack on the President of the United States. I mean, the way I look at it is free speech is the only way that we get things done. It's we the people. Think about the organic movement. Think about the GMO movement. Think about getting fluoride out of the water. I mean, in Europe, half of this stuff is banned already. Over here in the United States, we have 84,000 unregulated cancer, endocrine disrupting, IQ disrupting chemicals, to where children now in certain cities where the pollution is very high, on tests, they're put up against another 8-year-old to draw stick figures, and they can't even draw a stick figure because their brain
are plunging. Cancer is exploding.
Messed up.
And the same people selling us this agenda say everything's fine, everything's wonderful, everything's good. No, it's not.
No,
new big studies out that unvaccinated children are way healthier than vaccinated.
So now you can type in Google fluoride and go to the news section. You're going to find news articles on the dangers of fluoride. You can go and type in BPA. You can type endocrine disrupting chemicals. You can type in...
And that's why they're scared of free press, because we are defeating the globalists. We're exposing their entire medical tyranny program, their finance program, the rigged global markets. They are so upset that humanity is waking up right now, Dr. Group, and that's why they want the censorship.
Right. That's why they want the censorship. That's why they want to keep the truth from you when the truth is what's going to set you free, which is what I've been saying, and how simple it really is when you look at the root cause of what we're dealing with. I mean, you have 9 out of 10 people, Alex, and even 1 out of 2 black children now will develop diabetes. 1 out of 3 children, white, will develop diabetes. You have all of these things linked to toxic chemicals in the air, food, and water, and nothing is being done about that.
And now the media, when we came out, which is sold out, I hope more comes in, Myco-ZX, the antifungal probiotic, it basically shut that down. Like, oh my God, they say there's this fungus epidemic, then they have the solution. Yeah, like there's bad water, we sell high-quality water filters. Yes, that's what we do. It's called free market. We sell what's good, but there's a market for it to fund our operation to promote more freedom. Absolutely. Wow, what rocket scientist at the MSM saying that we're promoting probiotics and things that are well-documented. They're saying we're total kooks, but it's well known that Shilajit, it's well known that zeolites and what you have in the new product from InfoWarsLife.com, Z-Shield, is good to pull garbage out of the body, but they just sit there and make this huge joke out of it as our support just goes up and up and up and up, and we totally change the paradigm model of people funding their own media systems, not from outside sponsors that can control them, but with direct sales. You know, like selling a Trump Pence shirt for $4.95 at cost. I want to promote free speech. And we sold thousands of those yesterday. They can't stand the fact that we're out here waking people up, we're out here taking action, and that we're absolutely, you know, unapologetic about what we're doing. So they play these games like there aren't any problems. You shouldn't filter your water. You should eat GMO. You should eat trans fats. And I don't claim to be on the high horse here, you know, about stuff. I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't claim to be the most healthy person around. I'm trying to be healthier, and I've gotten healthier. But let's expand on that. We're coming out soon with a big organic line of shampoo and other personal care products that's a big national brand in Whole Foods, one of the biggest, who are patriots, who are letting us private label it. Now think about this. Are they going to call it snake shampoo or snake sunscreen or snake body wash or snake mouthwash? We're coming out with a 10-to-1 mouthwash that is a national brand, that's organic, that we're able to private label, that is the same as a price of normal mouthwash. It's 10-to-1 concentrate, and it's the same price. That's 10 times cheaper than the competitor, just because we cut out all the scams. They'll probably call it Snake Wash. I'm even thinking of calling the brand Snake Brand. Because next it'll be, he sells snake water filters. He sells snake shirts. He sells snake videos about the dangers of GMO. He has a show that points out they're lying about Trump and showing the actual news articles where they reported the laptop bombs 2-3 months ago. No, we're not snakes. We're the opposite of the snakes. The mainstream media are the snakes. So let's get it, because when I have you, we never plug, and you're the expert on this. You developed this over several years. Z-Shield, it's concentrated. Tell us what it does.
So that's the reason why more and more people are starting to go online and starting to listen to you, Alex, because we have hundreds of thousands of reviews. Most of them we can't even post online because people getting better, people are waking up. When you look at the amount of chlorine that people ingest, the bromine, the fluoride, the
chlorine kills fish,
the calcified pineal glands, the polybrominated compounds that are everywhere. I'm excited about Z-Shield. I'm excited about all the products because I know that our main goal is to help people. And the reason why I chose the ingredients in Z-Shield was designed not only to bond to the harmful chemicals that we're exposed to. It's a fact that we know the cause of disease is that too many chemicals are coming into our body every single day and not enough chemicals are getting out of our body every single day. Why is that? We're not urinating enough. We're not defecating enough. We're not sweating enough. And we're not respirating enough. And women's menstrual cycles are messed up. Those are our natural ways that we eliminate chemicals and toxins. I put the Shilajit in there, which is a black, almost decomposed humic fulvic acid from the Himalayas, where you have to actually go up into the mountains and harvest that by hand. All of these ingredients are chosen from different areas of the world. The zeolites, which have been known, we actually have a unique process of sterilizing zeolites before we put them in there. And the zeolites are known to capture some of these compounds, these chemicals that are being found, especially there's over 200 of these chemicals found in umbilical cord blood from pregnant women. So we know for a fact that we are being bombarded with all these chemicals. So what I wanted to do with the Z-Shield was put together things like the Lovage root, or the Lovage, which is designed to take care of a different spectrum of chemicals in the body. Then we put the Cleavers in there. The Cleavers is designed to push and to support the lymphatic system.
And by the way, there's no reviews on this because it just came out today. Yeah. You've taken a lot of known compounds, and you're explaining this to me a year ago when you were trying to develop this, and concentrated them together, totally organic, tested, amazingly clean, highest quality. And I forgot, I should have said this last hour, 25% off out of the gates. We want people to have this. Now, how often do you take it before you get back into the other stuff that's in it?
Well, I mean, I personally, with all the research that we've done, I would take it every other day or every day. And we have so many people that call in and say, listen, you and Alex talk about fluoride. You talk about chlorine. You talk about endocrine disrupting chemicals. You talk about the plastic residue. You talk about all of the heavy metals that we're exposed to every single day.
And X2 does a lot to block that going into certain glands, but not everything. What does this do?
And that's why we wanted to develop something that was more targeted, that, you know, listen, you can't live in a bubble anymore. I mean, we're going to be breathing the air. We're going to be eating the food. I mean, yes, we want you to eat organic. Yes, that's why we've been big proponents of detoxification and iodine.
But it's good to do detoxification on top of it. But clean water, better food. So what is the Shilajit? What is the zeolites? What are the other compounds, I interrupt you, that are in here? What do they do?
All of the compounds are designed to support the liver detoxification, which is the milk thistle in there.
That's racist.
The Cleavers in there, which is designed for the lymphatic system, so you can push this out, and all of the other herbs like the cilantro and the fulvic and humic blend, which are designed to grab and hold on to different types of chemical compounds in the blood. I mean, look, they had an article in Houston that just came out about the hexavalent chromium in the water supplies all over the United States. It's a fact, and we know that we are bombarded with toxic chemicals every single day.
Last time you were here, you showed a bunch of mainstream news articles about how mold and fungus is mutating and killing people all over the country. I know 3 people who have had family members, 2 of them are children, who got brain tumors where fungus just starts growing in the brain.
It's the tiny, you see, it's like the tiny
But that's a gift of our Lord Obama. Oh, Lord me. I'm sorry.
No, it's the tiny exposure. I mean, some of these things in parts per billion, these pesticide residues like glyphosate.
But how is fungus suddenly growing in the brain?
I don't know exactly how and why it's happening.
What's changing? Is all the GMOs mutating?
It's got to be that's just.
But the media said there's no fungus problem. There's no allergy problem.
We were ridiculed.
We just made it all up.
Yeah, we made it all up.
Hundreds of articles admitting that the funguses are killing people everywhere.
Right, and just last week, now it's coming out in the mainstream news that there's the Candida auris fungus, which we talked about a month ago when we broke it here on the InfoWars show, is now the big next Zika threat to the United States and to the world, and there's absolutely no pharmaceutical.
Well, I mean, most of the bats have died from the fungus.
And as a matter of fact, look at all the people on pharmaceutical drugs, which contain massive amounts of chemicals that they're poisoning their body with.
Yeah, but why is the fungus getting so much more powerful? We'll be right back, Dr. Group.
Because the conditions are there for it to live.
All right, I'm going to open the phones up to talk to Dr. Group about politics, about what they're doing to Trump, about their attempt to say he gave the Russians secret evidence for talking about what's been in the news for almost 3 months, about the laptop bombs that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are trying to create, and the intel we gathered on that, and how he's wiping out ISIS. We have a partnership with Russia doing that. We can get into all these subjects. Seth Rich's death, and the private detective saying the police told him they've been ordered to cover it up or, quote, stand down. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. There's the headline, Family's Private Investigator. There is evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to his death. Isn't that as interesting? And we have our affiliates who are great stations all over the country that have advertising groups that have never called them, calling up saying, we want to advertise on these other shows, but we want Alex Jones off. Most of our stations are actually expanding us because of that. They understand how much this country is under attack. But some stations are taking the money, and that's fine. This is America. If you decide you want to do that with George Soros or the globalist, then you've made your bed. It's the listeners, though, who need to support us and spread the word on the local stations you're listening to and supporting those local affiliates or becoming sponsors or just sending them $100 a month because it costs money to run radio stations. and also buy our products. We're selling Trump is my president shirts. They're excellent navy blue shirts. You meet like-minded people. It spreads the word. It stands up against bullies at cost because I want to flood the planet with them at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. But the good news is we have more affiliates now than we've ever had, and a lot of new stations are picking up the show. Not just our classic stations in New York and Chicago and places like that in L.A. So again, thank you all for your support. Thank you for your prayers. And we have the new product to detoxify the body, Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical defense support, available now at InfoWarsLife.com. 25% off out of the gates. I hope you check it out today. It goes really well with X2, the good halogen, and more. But more importantly than everything, just pray for us. And please spread the word about our articles, our videos, and Infowars.com, because they're really trying to shut us down right now because globalism is so unpopular. It's so ridiculous. They don't want us on air. They don't want Drudge being out there either, you know, covering the fact that Trump was only covering what was already in the news. They want to just put lies out and not have anybody there to challenge them. Well, we're challenging them. You're challenging them. We're doing all this together. Back to Dr. Group.
Oh, you're absolutely right on that. I mean, it's been a long challenge for years and years, and it just comes back down to simplicity. We just really want to help people. That's been my whole mission, and I've just identified all of the problems or the situations that people are dealing with. It's very sad it's sad and gratifying. It's sad to know that how many people out there are suffering, how bad the healthcare system really is right now around the world, how the governmental officials and the people in charge don't want to address the root cause of the problem.
And we're pointing this out not to be negative, but to fix it.
Sign an executive order banning the 980 cancer-causing chemicals that are out there. Sign an executive order banning aspartame. Sign an executive order banning fluoride in the water. I mean, let's address the root cause.
Instead, they had to sign executive orders to legalize aspartame, something Reagan did that was bad. He also created the Vaccine Damage Fund because he didn't know any better. He was taking the flu shots. It was brain damage as well.
That's another big topic that's been in the news lately. I mean, we the people.
By the way, I'm going to stop you there because I want to come back and cover this and take calls. 800-25-99231. Let's pull them up since we mentioned it. Major Journal Pediatrics. It was so many I couldn't cover it. Huge studies coming out that vaccinated children are much more unhealthy and have lower IQs. We're totally vindicated. They finally did the human studies. They finally did because they won't look at the animals.
I don't know if you heard about the Boston Herald study that came out, and they basically said to hang and kill everybody that's a vaccine.
I did see that. In fact, Owen Schroyer covered that. In fact, let's pull that up. Boston Herald, hang people that don't take vaccines. See, they're really getting pushy. They're really getting pushy. I want to cover this in this short segment. Come back, take calls, get more into the big studies because they're printing them off for me. You can just search engine the studies, unvaccinated children healthier than unvaccinated, and also the Boston Herald you mentioned saying hang people that don't take vaccines. They keep saying if we don't take vaccines, it makes them get sick. Well, wait a minute. You took it. It should be protecting you. Plus, they just had a bunch of illegals come in that had measles, mumps, rubella outbreaks. Then they say, oh, we're unvaccinated. That's the problem. There's no end. But here it is. Talking about walking on the fighting side of me. This is New Yorker magazine, same globalist elite mouthpiece that just came out 2 weeks ago and said there's a move to overthrow Trump in Congress and inside his own administration. It's an image of a Minuteman, George Washington, standing on top chains and skulls everywhere, and that America basically rules a world of death. And it says, we could have been Canada. Was the American Revolution such a good idea? This is globalism. The very people running down Trump saying he's a Russian agent with no proof are really the globalist agents, the corporate agents that are trying to kill national sovereignty. Kit Daniels wrote a story about it at Infowars.com. Globalist mag claims American Revolution was a mistake. Anti-Trump mag says America should have been more like Canada. Yeah, I guess a British protectorate, a British possession. So again, look, you got free speech, but they want to overthrow the country, our rights. More and more they say they want to kill patriots. It's all over the news, professors saying kill Trump. And at a certain point, I'm like, listen here. I had some guy last night. I'm down a hotel lobby wing to do a live feed with Stone. We were eating dinner with my parents. We ducked out to do a live feed with Buckley and Harrison on Periscope on Facebook. And I'm like 60 yards down a hallway by banquet halls. There's no one there. And I hear, you're a traitor, and Trump's a traitor. And I said, well, come here. Videos on Infowars.com. McMaster's fingers his leak in fake Washington Post Russian story. And as soon as I got over there, you know, the guy didn't want to run his mouth anymore. But he said, well, my grandfather fought the Nazis. So see, now I'm a Nazi. And so then he sits there and runs his mouth some more at me. And he says, well, hey, how's your wife? Well, I'd been married in 3 years. I'm remarried. My wife's doing great. My family's doing great. My kids are doing great. Fixed them all breakfast this morning. So the stuff you see in the media is fake news. It's all fake. None of it's even true, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the world and the reality that we live in. Maybe I'll play that later if we have some time. But he wants to run his mouth that I'm a traitor. And then when I try to get in his face, he tries to act like, what's my problem? Kind of like that lady that told the one guy in New Orleans she wants to kill me. Then he said, well, how dare you? And she said, what's the big deal? I just want him dead. They are on their own world.
Yeah, it's the things that we deal with every single day. But, you know, it takes a lot of determination, a lot of focus. And when you know in your heart that you're good and that you really want to help people, and it really is all about people making the right decisions, especially when it comes to their health. I mean, as long as, I mean, you know, and we fight every single day to get these chemicals and all this stuff taken out of the food and the water and the air, but really it's make the right choices in your life, eat organic food, buy organic cosmetics, stuff around your house, avoid the fragrances,
don't smoke cigarettes. You're so racist. You are so racist.
Reduce the amount of toxins coming into your body. And look,
no, you're a crackpot. You're a crackpot.
All you have to do
no, heavy metals are good. Heavy metals are good. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Get the mercury out of your teeth too. No, just drink water and sweat. I mean,
we'll be right back, folks, with your phone call. Stay with us. Just stop the right. Okay. Dr. Edward Group, one of my good friends, is here with us today in studio. We're about to go right to your phone calls. Carlos, Sam, Tim, Mary Lou, Maria, and others. Your calls are coming up here in just a few minutes, covering the waterfront. Russia calls Washington Post report on Trump intel sharing utter nonsense. Kremlin forewarned U.S. media was spinning hit piece about meeting. They don't want Trump meeting with Russians, even though he's supposed to meet with everybody from a powerful country. That's why he would have already met with Putin, but he hasn't. He's met with the Chinese president who wasn't elected. Trump is meeting with him, but not with the Russian president who was. So they've already paralyzed Trump to a great extent. And then the Washington Post put out that a source said he gave them secret intel about ISIS planning to put bombs disguised as batteries in laptops. And I heard that yesterday at like 5:30, and I went, that's been all over the news for months. That's the intel out of the Yemen raid. Trump put that out to warn people. He's the president. He's allowed to. They think we're so stupid they did that. By the way, crew, I've been busy during the breaks. I really want to print. Will you guys do that for me? Just the headline, studies show unvaccinated children healthier. We covered it all last week, but I just want to get those because I was going to cover those now and I forgot to. And then also the one out of the Boston Herald saying, hang people that don't take vaccines. That was the headline, right? Because I saw that last week. I want to show that to folks. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour now. But we're going to make a big deal out of that. We're going to do that one way or the other. And I got some clips I want to play. But Dr. Group, but I actually want to print it. Yeah, there it is. Editorial. Preying on parents' fears. And then it goes through some of that. But let's just print all those off for me, if you can do that, please. But again, looking at the situation with Russia, it's so ridiculous. And it never ends. And the people doing it have been caught lying. So we're sitting here with like this zombie media. They're dead. No one really believes them. But they can still run these giant hoaxes in an attempt to overthrow Trump. Why are they so mad at Trump?
I mean, to me, it's hard to understand why people are still watching the nonsense out there, because you can find the truth if you look for it online and you search for it. This whole collusion with the Russians and all this other stuff that's been going on, it's just like a full-blown attack that's happening on Trump right now. And hopefully, you know, I have to say that I am a little bit discouraged with the EPA basically releasing and approving all these toxic, harmful chemicals. One of the things that I was writing to the new administration about was, look, guys, we have to get rid of the FDA is all ex-Monsanto pharmaceutical company heads that are running the government. It's all lobbyists. It's all big industry that's in government. And this is one of the reasons I was so excited that Trump was going to come in and possibly drain the swamp. Doesn't matter if it's Trump or anybody else in government. At least they're not part of the whole globalist agenda. And hopefully we can get rid of all of these industry leaders and all these post-industry people that are running the EPA, that are running the FDA, that are approving all of these chemicals and all these toxins that are causing us to become sick and ill, so the pharmaceutical company can profit, and so that everybody walks around with a mind that's easily manipulated. I mean, if you look at, you ask yourself the question, why are these people, why do people believe in all this stuff that's going on? I mean, why aren't people doing their own research? Why are they believing everything that they hear on CNN? A lot of it has to do with the way that they've been manipulated through commercials and through media and through pharmaceuticals and through the fluoride in the water and the chlorine and the vaccinations and the flu shots and the fear that they're under. I mean, we're dealing with a society right now that is under a tremendous amount of stress, and stress will reduce your immune system automatically by 50%. We're dealing with a society right now who is extremely toxic. We're seeing cancer, the epidemic rise. We're seeing microbes rise. We're seeing the soil of the earth that's being degraded. And as a matter of fact, Monsanto just got approval the other day for a new chemical called NemaStrike technology, which attacks the roots, the nematodes on the roots of plants. So when you look at what's really going on with the soil being poisoned, the plants being poisoned, they're trying to shut down organic farming a lot of places. They're trying to force contamination in organic farms. You look at the water supply, where most governments are not taking the action to clean it up, and now you're starting to see mass lawsuits on that. You're starting to see mass lawsuits on vaccinations. You're starting to see mass lawsuits against Monsanto for causing cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and denying it for years and years and years. Those are all great things, and I don't like to just come up here and report all the negative news, because we have a lot of positive things that are happening in the world today. People are taking responsibility for their own health. They are getting online and realizing and looking around their house and knowing and educating themselves on volatile organic compounds. Some of the most dangerous chemicals in people's homes that we're looking at right now are dryer sheets, believe it or not. You have these homes that are so close together, and you have kids that are outside playing that are getting extremely ill, and they're getting these high levels of volatile organic compounds, and they're finding out that it's from the dryer sheets that the house next door is using. That's right, and let's expand on all this. Let's expand on all this.
This is hurting the elites too, but we've just been so eased into this toxic environment, we don't care. We just accept it. We've adapted to our environment killing us. I'm about to go to some phone calls here.
Well, no, the elites are getting ozone injections every week. I know people that do the ozone injections on the elites, and they fly them in their private jets, and once a week.
Beyond that, they've got a bunch of clinics in Austin. People are doing it now. So the Nouveau Riche are doing it. The ozone, the glutathione. They've got these other things they're doing that detoxify.
Oh, and listen to this. Believe it or not, the elites are actually taking your products, and they don't want to admit it, but I've heard through the grapevine that they're doing the detoxification methods, and they know that what we have out here is working.
Well, we do have the best iodine X2, and we do have the best Shieldgy system, Z-Shield, now at InfoWarsStore.com.
And they are taking the iodine, and they are doing the detoxification, and they are healing their gut, because they're not stupid. They know what to do.
Now, wait a minute. Probiotics are made up. They've had newspapers say so. We're liars. We shouldn't sell a high-quality probiotic and fund our operation in the face of all these attacks. Now, I want to go to Carlos, Sam, Tim, Mary, Maria, and others here with Dr. Group on any subject you want to raise. A lot of them have questions for Dr. Group. A lot of them talk about Trump. But I'll say this, yeah, Trump could do more at the EPA. He's trying to actually just get the jobs to come back. But the point is that he's not perfect. It's that he's an American president, and the globalists don't like that because he's actually making the decisions. And he knows common sense can get to people, just like he set up this commission with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. heading it up, exposing the vaccines.
No, I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he's got a million things on his list, and he's got so many people that have already been in office under the Obama
sure. Why do you think, you're a smart guy, Dr. Group, why are they wanting to take him out so bad?
because he's going against everything that they've been trying to put in action for years and years. Think about the billions of dollars from the industries, from the pharmaceutical companies, from the oil and gas industries, all of the deep-seated anti-free speech, all of the exposure that's going to be coming out with pedophilia, with all the other stuff that's been going on for years and years. They're scared because they're scared that the truth is finally going to be in the mainstream, and they're losing control of the president, which is normally just a puppet that's been in place for years and years and years, that they're telling what to do. So that's why I think they're so scared.
That's right. And look at this article. Boston Herald says people should be hanged to death for vaccine choice. You can pull that up. They're getting desperate because they know we're reaching the tipping point where people are waking up. And then I pulled up the articles. Pattern, premature birth, vaccination, and neurological development disorders, a cross-section study of 6 to 12-year-old vaccinated and unvaccinated children. And it's all coming out. It's all coming out how the Prozac causes bleeding on the brain, the Luvox, all of it. How the soft drinks that are sugar-free with aspartame make you fatter and give you brain damage. This is all mainstream studies now. Everything we told you, because it's always been in mainstream studies. It's just now people don't trust MSM, so MSM's having to report some of the truth. Rob Dew, break it down.
Well, Alex, here's the interesting thing. After those studies came out, within 48 hours, they were pulled by open access text. They were being pressured by the vaccine industry, from what my sources are telling me. If you go to the article, Bombshell Study Proves Unvaccinated Children Are Healthier, we have a breakdown of those studies. And then also at the bottom, we have one of the archive links. They've already pulled down another one that was archived because we had people went on and archived these studies. But basically what it showed was that there was a 6.6-fold increase in neurodevelopmental disorders between vaccinated children and unvaccinated
children. So those are
children.
major studies being pulled off the study sites because it's scaring them so bad.
Exactly.
Here it is. We'll put it on screen. Here's the article.
So that's what's really disturbing about this, because that's why people, they couldn't find them. I got your text saying, hey, we need these studies. I had actually printed them out because I knew this is the kind of stuff they'd taken studies down like this before. They don't want people to see this information that vaccinated children are unhealthier than unvaccinated children. They want to shield this from everybody, because if people start learning this truth, they won't get their kids vaccinated.
We've had nurses on from the preemie wards that's been in the news where the babies all stop breathing when they're ordered to give them the shots.
And they know
they go and put them on respirators.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's a big game for them. They go, oh, we got to get the intubators ready so we can help the babies breathe after they get their shots. They're giving them these Hep B shots. There's no way these kids can get Hep B as a little baby. It's ridiculous.
They give them the most deadly shot there is.
Yeah.
And notice Hep B is exploding now in the U.S.
You know, and one of the things that's not talked about a lot with the vaccines is the epigenetic gene-damaging problems that we're going to see when they're using all these different animal
Oh, that's another thing.
genes.
They admit it's jumping into our genetics.
It can go from generation to generation to generation. 3 generations down, you're going to have damages from these vaccinations in this generation. And that goes for the endocrine disrupting chemicals as well. Anything that damages the genes.
We'll be right back. Shame on everybody trying to block this information. It's a fact. We talked to the nurses. Now, your phone calls are coming up. Carlos, Sam, Tim, Mary Lou, Maria, and others at the start of the next segment with Dr. Grib. I promise I'm going bam, bam, bam to your calls. But more fake news we broke over a week ago that Trump's planning a purge, confirmed. More fake news that we confirmed that the police and others believe that Mr. Rich on the DNC was murdered. That's now mainstream news, confirmed. Just the hundreds and hundreds of things every month that we first break that are confirmed. We told you that Kimberly Guilfoyle was being considered as the main contender to replace Sean Spicer. We even had the White House call up and tell us we were wrong from a separate source. And I said, well, I think I'll go with our source. It's pretty high up, but who knows? It might be much higher. But Roger Stone, who I guess can talk about some of this now, he's just been in New York, had dinner a few nights ago with Kimberly. They were, in fact, he told me they didn't sleep. They had so much fun on the town with her and some of her friends. Roger's known her for many, many years. So Kimberly Guilfoyle says she's talking with Trump administration about press secretary job. Oh, my gosh. So here we are. That is exactly 6 days later, San Jose Mercury News confirming what our sources said. I called Roger up that day and said, have you heard this? He said, yes, that's what I've heard. He is not our source. He did not leak that. We have another source. So there you go. We're right yet again, Roger. Aren't we horrible?
Yeah, it's amazing, Alex. As you know, the president was inclined towards Kimberly Guilfoyle originally when Sean Spicer was selected. It would have been an excellent choice because Guilfoyle is, of course, a Hispanic woman, a very respected attorney, a former prosecutor, a very strong supporter of the president,
tenacious,
articulate, skillful, and obviously, you know, she is very attractive on television, and this is the television age. So that was short-circuited originally. Sean Spicer got the job. Now that it's clear that Spicer cannot do the job, Guilfoyle appears to be under consideration again. Now, I'm told that she has signed a new contract with Fox, but there are a number of ways out of that contract if she were to choose to serve the country. This would be an excellent appointment by the president. I did see her in New York, and I can tell you she is open to it. It would be a major drop in income, as you might imagine, but it would also be an opportunity to serve the country.
And to not read off a teleprompter, which she already does, but she's a smart lady, prosecutor, tenacious, defend the republic. We need her. We have to draft her. And so you're saying, obviously, that Guilfoyle is considering, is it? I mean, would you say she's 60-44, 60-40 against, 50-50?
My gut, Alex, is that if she were offered the job, she would accept it. This is an exceptional opportunity to serve the country. She is a close friend of Donald and Melania Trump. She has, I think, been more than fair in the coverage at Fox. She's been one of those in the opinion shows who's done a great job of defending the president, which is something that isn't what the press secretary is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, not sitting there throwing him under the bus or hiding in the bushes. And I'll tell you, it'd be a lot easier to watch her give press briefings than Sean Spicer.
No, that's for sure. This is another example, though, Alex, of InfoWars being ahead of the curve in terms of reporting exactly what's happening in the Trump administration.
Well, she also said that Roger Ailes wasn't doing anything.
That's true.
So she's not a dishonorable liar. That's
no, she's been a, unlike Megyn Kelly, who you spoke to the other day, she has been a defender of Roger Ailes, who really is the person who made her career. Now, recognize she was once married to Gavin Newsom, now the lieutenant governor of California, former mayor of San Francisco, but that does not reflect her politics. She is a very skilled political thinker, but she's a solid conservative.
Absolutely. Well, here we are, breaking news 6-7 days before it's out. No wonder they want to shut us down. We're so horrible, Roger. I think Roger has lost our audio there in the studio. Can you hear me, Roger?
I can now. Say it again, Alex.
No, I'm just saying, they're so upset that we continue to scoop them over and over again.
Well, they're lazy. We're out doing the work. And, of course, because a number of the people in the Trump campaign have great relationships with InfoWars, we do have an inside track in terms of what is going on. So, look, this would be a 10 strike. You get a Hispanic woman who is very respected, who, as a prosecutor, never lost a case, who famously gave her summations without a note. First in her class in law school, first in her class in college, you know, a thoroughbred, like Donald Trump, a thoroughbred. This would be the correct face for the administration rather than Sean Spicer, a man who I guarantee you will never make Mr. Stone's international best dressed list. Not a chance.
Well, I got to tell you, they are really going to have trouble demonizing her on Saturday Night Live. All right, Roger, I know you're going to tape some stuff for the Nightly News. Thank you, my friend. All right, we're coming up with Dr. Group, and I promise, laser beam. We're going right to your phone calls. Carlos is up first, then Maria, Mary, Tim, Sam, and others. Infowars.com is massively censored. Have you spread that link today? I want to thank all of you that have. We'll be right back. If you are a fan in the last 4+ years of X2, our deep earth crystal-based iodine, the good halogen that you die without, just like vitamin C, but they don't tell you that, then you should really try Z-Shield, our new product Dr. Group developed with the Shilajit, with the zeolites, and all these other concentrated herbs to pull out garbage from the body. InfoWarsLife.com, 888-253-3139. We have Donald Trump for president, navy blue shirts at cost. I'm doing this because I want to flood these everywhere to defend free speech, to meet like-minded patriots, to get in the face of bullies, to trigger them. I think I'm going to start putting scarecrows up around town with this on, with hidden cameras, and watch trendies like beat it up or attack it. I'm serious. That's the next video I want to do. So they're $4.95. We even lose money on the XXLs and stuff. Those cost us like $6, $7. I think like the XXXXL or something was like $7 for us. But point is, while supplies last, we sold a couple thousand, 3,000 of them yesterday. While supplies last, we have these shirts, but I'm not printing more. These are the latest new designer shirts, InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. Okay, thank you for holding. Dr. Grips riding shotgun with me. Let's talk to Carlos in Montreal, Canada. You're on the air.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, sir.
After the news yesterday on the Washington Post leaks, we decided to call a friend together and do a bit of an analysis of the article. We parsed through carefully through the information that was being revealed by the Washington Post. Both the Washington Post and the New York Times, to a very large extent, are suspect for their sources. And I think it goes back to, I mentioned to you before, an article that was published by James Bamford, September 16, 2014, and he dealt with information that was revealed to him by Ed Snowden concerning the NSA giving and channeling information directly without filtering, without any obligation
to the media
to meet standards, to the State of Israel, to Mossad.
Sure, that too. But I mean, the point is that the media, we can get all technical about this. They're saying that we got information about bombs in laptops that's been on the news for 2+ months, 3 months. And so it's just totally made up. And so now they're saying that we got the information from Israel. Well, them too. It doesn't matter. This shows there's enemies all around the president. Go ahead.
Yes, that's right. But you see, the point I wanted to make to you is if you look at the article, there's a great emphasis placed on a Middle East ally that had this information revealed.
Oh, and we did a horrible thing. I know Trump's a Nazi and wants to blow Israel up. And meanwhile, it's the globalists and Obama and Hillary that helped create ISIS and this whole movement, and Trump's the one defeating it. But now Trump's aiding ISIS. That dirty. He's not just with the Russians. He's a dirty ISIS now. Who knew he was an Islamicist? We should do a graphic of him with like a big beard and say, who knew? You know, he's with them. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
But there's something that the president can do, and as a builder, he knows what to do. When you have a leak in a faucet in a building, what do? Do you try to fix the leak without turning the water off?
No, you turn the water off.
You turn the water off, and you fix the leak, right? So to a very large extent, he's done this a couple of times by not revealing to certain people information and then finding out that it's leaking. So this is a very good technique, but in technical terms, what the president must do from now on is simply make sure that information is sealed.
I hear you. I appreciate your call. The Russians are going back to typewriters because the spying's so bad.
Who do you think the new FBI director is going to be?
Well, I knew days ago that the list being circulated by Fox News and stuff, Trump doesn't like any of them. He liked Trey Gowdy some, but that was about it, and Gowdy's off the list. So a certain female judge that's on Fox News is who Trump really likes.
Ooh, yeah, that would be nice.
Imagine he's put all these women in there.
He's going to get ridiculed like for that now, too.
Yeah, put a bunch of really smart, super good-looking, dark-haired, dark-skinned hotties on there. I think that's the answer. Just put all in charge. Let them run.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyways, I just can't handle it anymore. It's so crazy. Here's the thing. I want to catch Trump doing something bad, and he's not been perfect, but the enemies he has is how you know he's the good guy. I mean, it's crazy. Look at these headlines up on Infowars.com. If you're a TV viewer, this is powerful. Radio listeners, just go there. History is full of climate change myths that we're used to, just putting up with. And they're used to control human behavior. Here's Time Magazine saying, how to survive the coming ice age, 51 things you need to know to make a difference. And here they are a few years later saying, be worried of global warming and those polar bears can't swim. Here's another one. Again, we have New York Magazine saying, globalist mag says American Revolution was a mistake. Don't have it. Get rid of it. Meanwhile, we have all the articles I just mentioned, the Express, AP, Reuters, all in March, all in April. The plan to bomb airplanes with bombs inside laptops. And then that's what Trump was saying. Everybody knows that. ISIS was putting training videos out. So a lot of this is, the news, the intel news went, oh, we have incredible intel. It's unbelievable.
It was on YouTube.
Remember this? I remember reading some statistic, like 45 million pieces of news had been classified over the decades. There'll be an article in, say, the New York Times, and the CIA will say, don't let anybody read that in the CIA. That's classified. So here we go. Report. ISIS can make laptop bombs that evade airport security. So was the New York Post traitors 2 months ago saying that? No, that's what Trump was covering. That's 2 months ago. Here's another one. Trump revealed highly classified information to Russian foreign minister and ambassador. The same publication 3 days ago claimed that they also planted bugs inside with no proof, or that no other media was allowed in.
That they received from the New York Post.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, the same Washington Post, Britain, the U.S. banned most electronic devices in cabins on flights from several Muslim-majority countries because of the plan by ISIS to put bombs in laptops. March 21st, from the very same Washington Post that, I guess, according to them, revealed highly classified information to Russian foreign minister and ambassador. But see, they think we're dumb. Like Gruber said, have no memory. Meanwhile, did Washington Post publish dubious Russia story to distract from Seth Rich bombshell? And now the police come out. Yeah, we were told to stand down. Looks like he was murdered talking to WikiLeaks. Shot in the back, nothing stolen. McMaster responds to Washington Post. I was in the room. It didn't happen. The story's fake. Do you think that McMaster could be the leaker to make himself look like a hero? What do you think?
Anything's a possibility.
Well, there weren't many people in the room. It was like 3 or 4 people.
I'm sure it's bugged. I mean, who knows these days?
And then meanwhile, behind the innocent facade of this bookstore, Seth Rich, slain DNC staffer, had contact with WikiLeaks, say multiple sources, including Assange. Assange needs to come fully out with that info. Don't you think that?
I think so, yeah.
Well, the family hired this detective, a former New York police officer, but now they're saying, well, that's not exactly right. Family's private investigator. There is evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to death, but now they're backing off that. I wonder why.
Probably because they've been threatened.
That's 2 + 2 = 4.
And that's one day. That's one day.
Well, that one day. Hell, I got like 100 other articles here. Right now, let's go ahead and go to Drumbeat Maria in Pennsylvania. Maria, thank you for calling today.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
Good.
This is the first time I'm calling, so I'm a little bit nervous. Bear with me.
I'm nervous, too, so thank you for joining us.
Well, I want to thank you, Alex, for waking me for the past going on 7 years. I've learned a lot from you. Actually, my boyfriend and my youngest son, who was in high school, who's now 25 years old, turned me on to you. So I thank you for that and the courage that you have to go out there and actually, you know, stand in front of all these nutty people and confront them and tell them the truth. You know, that takes a lot of courage. So I pray for you.
Well, ma'am, I appreciate you. And, you know, I don't believe in prayer. I depend on it. So thank you so much. And again, it's very, very humbling to have people call in and thank me. I'm going to be honest with you. I fundamentally, at an instinctive level, don't want to be a slave. I fundamentally don't like globalists screwing us over. I know how bad they are. So for me, it's total competition in a good way. But I'm seething wanting to beat them. I want to be on more affiliates. I want to win, but I want to do it our way, telling the truth. And that's why you have the power to make sure we're not defeated together. So just keep spreading the word about Infowars.com, the articles, the videos, all of it. Start your own show. Whatever you do, just keep it up. What do you think about the situation? You have questions for Dr. Group?
I do have a question for Dr. Group. I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer last year.
Wow.
I'm in stage 1, and I'm only 40. I'm going at 46 next month. So I went, they had my whole thyroid removed, and I had the radioactive iodine. I was literally radioactive for a week and I had to be isolated at home. Ever since then, I've had one thing after another, after another, after another. My whole immune system is so out of whack. And I do believe in all, you know, vitamins and, you know, healthy things to take. But at the same time, you know, I have to take hormones that could take that I need to survive with that contain talc. And I know talc is produces cancer. So it's like I'm in this circle. And I want to find a good product. And I'm very interested in your line of products that will help me boost up my immune system. And I'm very interested in that new B product that you have.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing I can say is, well, you got everything taken care of. So now you can take 2 steps back, and you have to look at what was the root cause of why you got thyroid cancer. And we know, I mean, I don't know where you are, what your job is, what you're exposed to every day, how your diet is, what your stress levels are, but all of those things are things that you should look at right now. And we now know for a fact that a study from USC that came out that a 3-day water fast on purified water completely regenerates your immune system. I would start looking at what you can do now to clean your body, detoxify your body, do multiple liver cleanses to get your liver working again. The thing is, cancer never develops if your body is clean. And there's only one way that you could have a clean body and cancer develops, and that's if you're extremely angry and you're under extreme amounts of stress.
Let me ask you this question,
Doc. Everything else.
Let me ask you this question. Why is it, I see it in the statistics, women have so many more thyroid problems now and goiter, and I know, are they more susceptible to fluoride, or what's going on?
Well, it's endocrine disrupting chemicals. I mean, it's the bottom line. They're estrogen mimicking chemicals with soy, and it affects women a lot more than it does men because women have breasts and they have ovaries and they have a reproductive system, and so they're going to be affected more from all these endocrine disrupting chemicals. Women use a lot more cosmetic products than men do as well, and they use perfumes. Perfumes are one of the most toxic cancer-causing agents known to man because the fragrances don't actually have to be listed on the label, and each fragrance can contain between 12 and 200 toxic chemicals. So I would say it's you want to look at everything that you've been exposed to now and prevent that from happening in the future. And by detoxifying your body, by cleansing, by boosting your immune system with products like DNA Force, Survival Shield X2, making sure that you're not putting all those chemicals and toxins in your body, cleaning up your water, drinking pure water, maybe getting some shower filters and things as well. Look at where you sleep
now, that's
at night.
super kooky. If the water's full of toxins and chemicals, I should drink those. I shouldn't filter those out. I mean, we're being so exploitive selling high-quality water filtration systems that we personally use to help fund our operation and to promote free speech and Americana. I am so ashamed of myself right now. I love how these mainstream articles are always like, he sells stuff, he's so shameful. Next up, Prozac ads, CNN. Right. They're selling stuff that makes your brain bleed, kills you. Vaccines, they admit, are maiming people. Their own insert says it. And then they say, we're bad, selling DNA Force, that's got this admitted super antioxidant bio PQQ and CoQ10. Yeah. I mean, we're just selling the known, absolute certified, game-changing, badass stuff.
And by the way, everything that we develop, if you look at the individual herbs in the products, or if you look at something like DNA Force, which one of my favorite products ever, and there's so many people that it's completely changed their lives. These are all things that have multiple backed up clinical scientific studies that have been done on
BioPQQ
for years and years and years. It's not like we're going out to the forest and grabbing a bunch of stuff that we don't know about.
If you go in elite medical clinics anywhere in Austin or wherever you live and go to these elite clinics that rich people go to, it's all the same stuff we sell, 3-4 times the price, but you get it from a doctor. It's not prescription, but it's from the doctor.
Well, they don't even use nearly as the advanced, you can buy a milk thistle powder from China for $4 a kilogram, or you can buy a certified organic American-made or American-sourced farm for $24 a kilogram, and you're going to see higher active components. And most of the pharmaceuticals out there are just components of herbs that are synthetically manufactured.
That's right. Maria, God bless you. Thank you. We're praying for you. Please pray for us. We're all in this together. Thank you so much. Mary, let's go to Pennsylvania. Another call from Pennsylvania. Mary, thank you for holding. Mary Lou, good old classic American name. Mary Lou, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Hi. Today is my birthday. I'm 48, and the last caller from Pennsylvania, I send my prayers, my love and my prayers. Real quick, my mother died. She ended up getting cancer, in her early 50s. But you know something? The night on her deathbed, the doctor came in and said to her, she was born with the cancer cells. Not, people need to understand. And the way he explained it was all the plastic bottles and the water and all the food she was eating. But my thing is,
oh, yeah, the doctors know that. It's in all the main lip, and then we trailblaze saying, get bisphenol A out that your dad helped develop as a top chemist, and we're conspiracy theorists, and Daily Beast makes jokes. I mean, how sick are these people?
It's sick because they're hurting everybody by lying to them and telling them that it's okay for them to eat tainted food and drink tainted water.
Mary Lou, I apologize. I interrupted. I'm sorry. No, I'm the one that did it.
To you by now. No, you're good. You're good.
No, I am bad.
My thing is from all the things that I've seen, witnessed, heard, experienced, trying to call companies like Chef Boyardee, asking them where the meat's coming from. Changing my complete diet. I stopped taking the sertraline, going through premenopause. I went to the family doctor. I told her, I said, look, I started doing pure iodine, selenium. She got smart with me. She wanted to know where I got it. So I told her I got it from InfoWars. She literally got on your site on the computer in the office. She did not want to talk to me anymore. She as much so threw me out of the room.
Well, let me just interrupt because this is important. You going back to your mother and the medical doctor admitting, because they tell you, especially with breast cancer, I don't know if that was the cancer, that they admit that these estrogen mimickers literally grow the cancers. It's incontrovertible. We're just stating fact here. But then you bring up some of these medical doctors or other people that will flip out. But you go to Whole Foods and there's selenium being sold. Everyone knows you don't have selenium, you die. It's absolutely connected to people getting cancer. And you're saying she got upset because you told her you were taking selenium?
Correct.
And the X2, yeah.
Iodine was the big one. The iodine was the big one. But here's my question. My question is I have, 3 beautiful granddaughters. Now, they are mandated to have the vaccine.
Hold on, stay there. The break's got to interrupt you. Because if I don't, the network does this thing where they just play the ads later, and it absolutely drives the stations crazy. So I apologize. There are going to be big changes coming soon, station. So I just know that. So stay there, ma'am. I'm going to come right back to Mary Lou. Then we'll go to Larry. We'll go to Sam. We'll go to Tim. And we'll go to Jim. I'm going to hand the baton to the next host coming in. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central, we've got the Alex Jones Show. I call it InfoWars Live, what we do here on the TV, radio, /internet, side of things. But talking to this lady here, I've read hundreds of mainstream news articles about the glyphosates growing breast cancer. And then I've sat there and had it hit my own family. And I see it up 3,000-4,000%, depending on the type. Pediatric cancer is up 10,000%. That's children's cancers, folks. I mean, this is crazy, but it's always, we want to find a cure. Never, why is it exploding? And this lady brings up going to the doctor or going to the nutritionist, and then they blow up when the U.S. government had iodine added to the salt for decades, and IQs went up 15%. Google it. Roundup gave us cancer as EPA officials helped the company, CNN. At least CNN is finally getting it right in 2017. Yesterday, I've been disposing glyphosate for 20 years, and I would get letters threatening to sue me from Monsanto. I told them, I said, go ahead and do it. Not because I'm some angel. If they knew it was giving people cancer when they tested it, and it was giving rats cancer in the 70s, and they finally got it approved in the 80s, and you're lying and saying you can drink it when it'll kill you, it's wrong. And I just don't understand it. But again, folks, we told you they're trying to hire, the new press secretary. Now it's in the news. We don't make this up. And everybody knows it who's real. But they're trying to shut us down. So please pray for us, and please financially support us, and please get the new Z-Shield that goes great with X2. What else does this go great with from InfoWarsLife.com?
That goes well with anything. I mean, all of the InfoWars Life products are designed to help you achieve the health that you're trying to achieve. I mean, they're all pretty much based on detoxification
and the great part is,
and cleansing.
You're fighting the info war that the enemy's trying to shut down. That totally gets in their face. It's a total act of defiance. I want to thank you all for your support. 25% off out of the gates because I want you to try it. 10% off additionally when you sign up for AutoShip. And all orders $50 or more are free shipping. InfoWarsStore.com. Okay, Mary Lou, go ahead and finish your points. Thank you for holding over.
Oh, thank you. Okay, now, here's my point and my question. With the Z-Shield, okay, now that is from what I got today, because today's first day I got to see it on your program. Is any of these products actually, can you use them on your children, on smaller children? And the reason why I ask is my oldest granddaughter, when she is mandated to have the vaccine shot, when she comes home, I mean, she is deathly sick for not less than 5 days.
Ma'am, first off, I know the Pennsylvania law. It's gotten more restrictive, like California, but you have objections for religious, conscientious, moral objections. That I think they got rid of one in Pennsylvania. But there's a health department filing. It's not a law. It's a regulation. You can opt out of the vaccines in all 50 states, ma'am.
It's probably her. It's her. How old are the children?
My oldest one is 2.5.
Oh, my God. Ma'am, I've got 4 children. They're incredibly healthy. None of them have ever had a vaccine. The studies are out there. There is no law that your children have to take vaccines, and none of it in their own inserts.
The doctor, I know, but the doctor is saying it's mandated. That's it.
Well, ma'am, you just Google anti-vaccine doctors in Pennsylvania, and you take them somewhere else, and you don't let that bully. I tell you what, I can't do this for every case. You want me to get on an airplane, come up there, talk to that doctor?
Oh, I can take care of it.
Well, all I'm telling you, ma'am, is I know people say, oh, let's give them the vaccines and let's give them something to pull heavy metals out of. I mean, is that where you're going with this?
Well,
Dr. Group, what's your bottom line?
Let me tell you the best thing you can do for your children. I have 2 children of my own. The best thing you can do is protect them from all the chemicals, all the toxins, everything. My children use the Survival Shield. I make sure that their gut is healthy and clean with good
probiotics. Are essential. Yeah, it's up to you, ma'am. Talk to your physician, but it doesn't sound like this one.
And the Z-Shield as well, because they're going to be exposed to some chemicals. So try to just focus on
the point is everything in these products is safe. Everything in them is safe. You don't want to give them too much iodine. Consult your physician. I'm going to come back to her.
Yes,
this is important. Mary Lou, don't stay there. Believe me, I've made these decisions myself in my own life. You know, having home births, staying up with your kids when they are sick at night, paying the bills, busting your ass. That's what a real man does, not acting tough. And you're a real man, Dr. Group.
Well, let me tell you about one thing. This is one of the biggest myths that the medical profession has put upon
Well, they admit no vaccine has ever protected from the flu. It's totally made up.
Yeah, and they also say as soon as you have a tiny fever, take some medication. If you look at all of the
fevers are meant to kill the viruses and bacteria.
Yeah, even hyperthermia treatments that MD Anderson was looking into for cancer, where the cancer cells die anywhere between 104 and 106, and they were heating up the tumors to die off the cells. You know, all the viruses and the bacteria and everything, my kids had a temperature of 106.3 and the strangest thing is I was watching it happen, and the body would reduce his temperature all the way down to 101, 102. Then it would spike back up to 106, and then it would come back down. Within 10 seconds, it would be going from 106.4 all the way down. Now, we've instilled the medical community has instilled so much fear into everybody.
Oh, I know. In my own personal life, I've seen people when a child has 100.5, give them Tylenol, give them Tylenol. Like Tylenol eats their liver. No. And then it hits 102 and it goes away. They call that child abuse. No, we have fevers for a reason.
How about pregnant women forced to get the flu shot? I mean, I knew...
Until 6 years ago, any medical doctor would tell you on Hippocratic Oath, never give a pregnant woman any vaccine because it causes autoimmune response and abortions. Fact. The inserts said it. Now they doubled down and said give pregnant women extra shots.
My wife was going in to get checked up when she was pregnant, and there's a big sign on the door, do not forget your flu vaccine today. And I'm thinking to myself, are you joking? Are you serious?
By the way, it's not just the miscarriages. It's also the all sorts of neurological disorders.
Oh, my. The list just goes on, and the vaccines are getting worse because they're getting to be hexavalent vaccines, and they're putting multiple different strains of different things in these flu shots and in these
we see the autism and the cancer and the brain damage, and we're the conspiracy theorist. We're the conspiracy theorist, and George Soros says so.
That's
loving Nazi collaborator.
Bringing the healthcare system down and weighing so much on it. How much money it costs to take care of autistic
It's a biochemical attack on the country. Mary Lou.
Yeah.
Finish up your points, ma'am. I appreciate you calling. Go ahead.
Here's my thing. When my son was born, there was all these problems, but my son got all the shots, and he was sick all the time. And now, doing a lot of the different research, now I find that my oldest granddaughter, it's like I feel like she was born with some of the genetic problems that he had, so now we got it twice as bad. Now, I've been giving her the Child Ease, and that seems to actually cure a lot of her functions, her problems during the day, believe it or not.
Well, we can't say things cured things. We can't recommend supplements for people under 12. So just like I said, make your own decisions, consult your physicians. But Child Ease has been around 30-plus years. We private labeled it under another name, sold by Whole Foods and others. It's a bunch of concentrated herbs, and it's kind of a copy of old wives' tale stuff of a whole bunch of herbs that women would grind up. It's a black syrup and give the kids.
Mm-hmm. No, you just...
Well, and that's the thing.
Unfortunately, we're not...
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting her, too. Finish up. Go ahead, ma'am.
The Living Defense. Now, I started the Living Defense back in around January, but I do take one a day, and I did notice that just taking one a day, I know it says, you know, not to take it every single day. I just want to make sure that, because I feel good if I don't take it every day, you know, because I don't take anything unless it's natural.
Well, ma'am, all I know is thank you for the support. We couldn't do it without you, and it's what God gave us through Mother Nature, and it's the very best products we can come up with, and it funds the operation. So thank you so much, and God bless you. I apologize to the callers keeping her on so long. We start bringing up vaccines and doctors saying it's mandated. That's not a law, folks. It's mandated. The health department said give every Hispanic girl, you know, in Latin America the Gardasil when it's linked to killing people and sterilizing women, and now you wonder why the people in Mexico can't have kids, a bunch of them. People go, well, then there's too many of them. I'm not racist. I don't want to kill all the Mexicans. I just don't want them brainwashed hating me. See?
I know.
From the front lines of the information war. No, it's John Rappaport of NoMoreFakeNews.com. Yeah, we told you Beverly Guilford was in the lead. Sean Spicer was on his way out. It's San Jose Mercury News and Associated Press last hour. Did we get credit? No. Mother, can you keep him in the dark for life? Or can you hide him from the waiting world? Oh, mother, father, gonna take your daughter out tonight. All right, let's get serious here. A little bit of fun in the fourth hour. I want to finish a few calls, and then I want to hand the baton to Rappaport, who's a real angel co-host of the show. We're about to add more broadcasts, more shows very, very soon, so hopefully he'll have his own 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 hours a week, however much they can handle. Because we tell you, the Secret Talk Radio is doing 3 hours a day and doing it religiously. And the stations are ready all across the fruited plain. But before I finish up with these callers here, I just want to invite Mr. Rappaport onto the broadcast with us of NoMoreFakeNews.com. They are beavering away, trying to shut us down. Earlier, we were looking at London Guardian, Huffington Post attacking me by name, saying I'm saying vaccines are dangerous. No, the studies are coming out saying they're dangerous, saying I'm wrong about Prozac causing cranial bleeding. See, they use me to say I'm the fake news guy. They're branding me as that. But they never show that I'm showing studies. I'm showing articles. I'm showing their own inserts. I'm showing their own admissions, John. So I don't see this really working anymore. What do you think?
I think it stopped working a long time ago. You know, people are getting wise to this, Alex. Okay, well, he's to blame, or she's to blame for millions of people suddenly thinking that vaccines might be dangerous. No, this movement has been going on in this country for about 75 years now, at least. So wake up, major media, and realize that you're completely insane. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't a clue. These talking heads there, well, of course, we know that vaccines are completely safe and effective. Really? Do you know that? Do you know anything?
No, you give your 2-year-old the shot, they have a convulsion, blood comes out of their nose, and then a week later you're at the cemetery putting them in the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people in this building that I know whose children have died from vaccines.
And exactly. And if the child was not dead when they were taken to the cemetery, there would be a doctor there to give another shot.
Exactly.
You can be sure of that. So these idiots on major media, and I followed them for years, you know, the science reporters and so forth, and the anchors, they know nothing about vaccines, nothing about drugs, nothing about
Well, they're also selfish. They don't want to know. They kind of self-hypnotize.
Yeah. So their whole act is we make you think we know, and then we bring on this dome head who is being paid by a pharmaceutical company to say that he's an expert, and then We blame somebody. Who can we blame?
They just look at this article right here from Monsanto. They just hired internet trolls to cover up Roundup's cancer risk. You're exactly right. These guys just get paid.
Oh, they used to have lawyers writing letters, and I just said, look, sue me. I was reading major studies out of Europe and places where it was giving the rats cancer. I just said, go ahead and sue me. And and I'm not even a hero. I'm not going to sign on to cancer killing everybody. And I'm not a hero. I'm just not a killer.
Just an informer. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, I've had most of my family die of cancer, man. I'm getting pissed here. My grandmother just died of breast cancer. I'm sick of this crap. Sorry, go ahead, Rappaport.
Yeah, so there you are on the screen with Roundup and the experts and so forth. Even the World Health Organization is forced to, say over and over, probable carcinogen. But of course, it's completely safe. Yes, absolutely
safe.
You
can drink it, but then they asked the guy that said that to drink it. He goes, "Do you think I'm crazy?"
Yeah, you think I'm out of my mind? I'm not going to drink this stuff. I'll die.
Well, listen, I want to thank you both. I'm going to try to get out of here because I know Group's got stuff to do, and I want to listen to you and get to other news you got to cover, John. But I promise I go to these calls, so let's go to a few of them. I'm glad this caller, Jim, brings this up, and we'll go to Tim. Jim brings up Supreme Court bug. Yeah, what I was told, and what we told you, we sent an investigative team, David Knight, you name it, down to where Scalia died. And I said he was getting recruited by a Bohemian Grove-style group, and he wasn't part of the group, but he got recruited in by the Catholics, and then they killed him. Now I'm saying the Catholics killed him. He got recruited by a Catholic group. Months after he died, it was in the Washington Post. He was part of a secret society Bohemian Grove created in South Texas on the border, this Obama high-level appointee guy, and he's dead. And we said the word was he was about to go public over wiretapping and how they were blackmailing Roberts. Now, we wrote articles, that's all on record, because we're willing to actually get there, 15 hours after they announce he's dead. Remember, they wouldn't say where his body was when they announced it was dead. It was just somewhere. So now it's in mainstream news here. Justice Scalia believed Supreme Court was being surveilled by Obama, and Jim wants to talk about that. So something else we were on target about. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jim. Yep, sorry, go ahead. Absolutely, Jim. You have a nice voice. I like your voice, Jim.
Thanks. Yeah, I wondered if Obama acted outside the law as often as he did, why would we think he wouldn't have, for example, had the key loggers and sophisticated surveillance cell phone interceptors placed within the White House? And then the Obama holdovers would pretend to sweep it and, oh, it's clean, Mr. Trump. Why do we think some of those leaks aren't actually being picked up from the White House the way
absolutely.
The Supreme Court was being surveilled?
Totally. It came out in the news he's surveilling thousands of Americans in the election. It came out in the news that they were spying on the Senate. They've all been caught. And then the media sits there going, it's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy, Trump's crazy. Trump claims the sun is yellow. No, it's true. It happened. So absolutely, Jim, where do you see all this going?
Well, if they can find some actual hard links to take it back to Obama and his bunker, then the public, I think, would get upset. I don't even think the corporate media would be able to cover it up.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I'm going to skip this break so we have more time with Rappaport. Can you imagine being with the president, the Russian foreign minister, and the Russian ambassador, and then there's McMaster and the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, and one other person, they won't say who it was, Priebus. Priebus knows he's on the way out, so does McMaster, so it's one of those two probably. Or it's bugged, like you were just saying, Jim. And then you hate the president so much, he's like, hey, great intel on the laptops, huh? They'll stop blowing up planes. And they run out and like, he just released classified info. Even though it's been all over the news, the president, who's allowed to declassify, by the way, he's not even allowed to pat the Russians on the back about how we're working to take out ISIS. That's a globalist creation. That's how surrounded this president is, Jim.
And to warn the Russians so they could save their civilian passengers from threats from terrorists is nuts. One last question, Alex. What do you think we're going to do when this big corporate media keeps this drumbeat up for so long that some of the Republicans jump on this train?
I mean, it's already starting to happen. A bunch of the Republicans are blackmailed or controlled in the Senate, and they're already saying that they think that Trump's wearing Russian underwear or something. I mean, it's the craziest load of bull. That's why he's got to go on the offense. Hillary's got to be charged for the uranium deal. She's got to be charged for China. We got to lock them up. That's what I tell the president on the phone when I've talked to him. Sir, they're not going to stop. They don't want you to make America great again. They're going to destroy you. I know you want to be conciliatory. You can't do it. You will be destroyed or they will be destroyed. Even if you roll over to them, they want to destroy the image of Americana. You are in a death battle, sir. Appreciate your call, Jim. Great points. Either one of you want to comment on that?
No.
Yeah, sure.
John?
I mean, this is exactly what's happening. The spying is everywhere. Dianne Feinstein, remember her?
CIA.
2 years ago, whenever it was, the CIA is spying on us. How outrageous and so forth and whatever. And then the story just goes away. Everybody forgets about it because, you know, they know that CIA has all kinds of information on them. And then now they pretend, well, it's all about Trump. He's lying. He's delusional. Nobody's spying on anybody. But we know that the spying is everywhere. Multiple agents.
I had a guy, I love Brits, by the way, a British Canadian come over as he moved there. And he said, you're a traitor. He said, you're a traitor to Russia, to America. And I was just like, hey, cuck, you're an idiot. He didn't like that on his, I wasn't like bowing up. And I'm like, dude, go ahead, man. You're calling me I'm selling out America. You're not even American, and you're in my face arrogantly telling me that I'm a Russian agent, man. I mean, these people are they're just these arrogant dumbasses because they think they agree with mainstream TV, so they're powerful. They are delusional.
I agree. They're delusional.
Who is the guy, the professor? I think you guys were carrying the story, weren't you? Who said, there probably shouldn't have been an American Revolution at all, because if there weren't, America would be nice and peaceful like Canada is.
Yeah, that's in the New Yorker magazine right now. It's on Infowars.com, yeah. These people are just totally, that's the traitors getting rid of the country, not us defending it. But again, in their world, he's a globalist. See, so he just walks around, oh, look, it's a traitor. There's the traitor. I mean, 100 years ago, that guy would have been, you know, laid out. He's mad that I at least argue. He goes, oh, you're no one. I don't talk to you. I just announce you're a traitor.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people on that side, though, because of all the things that have come out on the news regarding you, have actually come over and watched your stuff and realized that what you're saying is actually the truth with the evidence. And I know you've gained a lot more followers and listeners.
Sure. Let's be clear. The audience is bigger, but they are really coming after us. I've had probably 14 stations call us. Some have been on air. A big Chicago affiliate. I mean, they called up and said, we'll give you $500,000, take them off. And most stations just can't refuse. And it's just, that's how much trouble this country's in. I mean, they are out to get us. So as strong as we are, we're kind of like a rocket trying to get out of the atmosphere. They got missiles all over us, bullet holes in us. I mean, we've been tearing the hell out. It's like Godzilla attacking Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we're definitely in like, then Mothra is, you know, attacking us, and we're kind of winning, but we're like got green slime pouring out the side of us. So I just want folks to know we're not. I mean, this is a real war.
Don't you think that people are getting sick of all the CNN and the MSNBC and Washington Post and New York?
No, absolutely. I'm just saying, if we are like the whole family here is like, you know, Godzilla attacking the nuclear reactors. I mean, let's say Godzilla's the good guy, you know. The point is that everybody's attacking us. Even people that don't know, even people that don't even know who we are or think we're the bad guys or don't know. That's the whole joke. Like, half the folks are attacking Godzilla, they don't know he's really the good guy. So it's a total war.
It is. I mean, more than ever before right now. I mean, I'm being attacked as well.
Oh, you're attacked every day.
Everybody's being attacked. It's just like, okay, we're telling the truth, and we have stacks of documentation. We have our vault. We're not going to come out.
But you were in the Army and all sorts of operations and stuff. I mean, you come up as a nice guy. You're a family guy. You're not a fake tough guy. But these threats, let me guess, don't mean anything to you. In fact, does it make you even stronger?
It makes me stronger, absolutely, because, you know, we get a lot of people that come in and say, hey, listen, and we know you're being attacked. They're saying this about you. What do you have? And so we give them all the documentation. We prove to them.
We've even had fake moles who never even worked here, then go on the news and say they've worked here and then make up crap.
Right. No, I had people from my office actually do interviews that were damaging to us. So it's, you know, you constantly have to know who your friends are, who are around you, and people that believe in your mission, and people that want to ultimately, we're doing this, all of us, for one thing, to help change, make America great again, to help people change their life, because we know that healthcare is a degrading cancer.
That's right. And we're trying to build a new economy.
And we're trying to get people happy again and non-stressed and tell people the truth.
Here's an example, and I got to go to these calls and finish up because I'm taking Rappaport's time. He's will have another hour tomorrow if he wants because he's just a great guy. And I like listening to him personally myself, so I'm being a little bit selfish to myself for taking over the time. Take Knockout. Now, I developed a lot of the products, or we private label top products with you and others, but I thought, I'm already using L-tryptophan sometimes, and I'm already using valerian root, I'm already using melatonin. They're all $19. But I said, these aren't that expensive products. Why don't we put them all together? So I came to you and others. I said, is it safe to put 9 different things together at the same strength? And then you go, absolutely. So we put it out, private labeled, organic, from a big company in the United States that made it for us, but it's our own design. And I talked to Randall Wilhite, my lawyer, who's a totally healthy guy, and doesn't use drugs, any of that stuff, but he was on 4 different prescription drugs, couldn't sleep, UT Sleep Center, all of it. He's a UT professor, because he had stayed up so late so many nights making himself stay up just with brain power to do cases that he couldn't sleep anymore. He said this changed his life. He looks 10 years younger, and he buys cases of Knockout, takes only 1 a night, but he loves it and says, why does it work so good? Because we put all of Mother Nature's stuff together in one product.
It's all about helping people. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, then we fund the operation.
And helping people. And how you do that, you're giving people the products that they need, that they want, to address the main issues that they're suffering from right now. And like you said, these are individuals that really believe in you, that want to support the organization. They understand what's going on around them. They understand that they're being poisoned. They understand that they're being lied to. And they want to support you to get that information.
Because they're supporting themselves. I want to go to Sam and Tim.
And then they tell their friends and their friends and their friends, and they share, and they, you know, now in the internet, the digital age.
And it's exponential, and the establishment's scared. Rappaport, briefly, then I'll take these calls and let you take over. What are they going to do? Because forget InfoWars. I've talked about us because they're always misbranding us, attacking us, trying to destroy us. So I have to defend our, defend us a few minutes every hour. But the globalists, as you said, are clearly losing ground. They admit they're panicking. World government's collapsing. It's unelected. Even if they were successful in destroying you or I or, anybody or Donald Trump, none of us are perfect. Don't they get that they're losing a battle? I see the elites moving to all these redoubts, all these Pacific islands. They admit in their own internal documents, they believe they've already lost. So why don't they just give up and try to be good guys? Where do you see this going?
Well, they're not going to give up. They're going to keep going anyway. They're, it's one of these point of no return. Well, we can't turn around now. I mean, what are we going to do? Just suddenly disappear and say, gee, we were trying to deceive you for decades and decades, and we failed, and we're sorry, and we're going away. They can't do that. It's like, when the FDA puts out a drug and it starts killing people, and then another one and another one, the FDA can't say, gee, we're sorry we did that. It's always got to be a story, why it happened, this and that. So they're going to keep on trying. They're going to keep on going. They're going to keep on destroying as much as possible. But the consciousness battle is already lost. People recognize, I mean, come on, a one world government? What in lunatic would think up that idea and think that they could really sell it? Who's going to buy
I can barely run an operation with 70 people. Can you imagine trying to one world, a secret unelected government too?
Okay, the 3 of us are in charge of the planet. Okay. Get started, boys, and let's see what you're going to do. Sure, I mean, even if we had the best of motives,
it'd be a disaster.
Yeah, within 24 hours, there would be suicides from, wall to wall, because people would say, I can't even understand the complexities of what's going on here. Can't we go back to separate countries and local communities where people can actually look at each other and recognize they're all alive instead of running everything like a giant machine? I mean, that's what people
We've got to have local control.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. You got to have on the ground microeconomy, not this big top down thing. I mean, we can have big roads and agreements and passports, the systems. We need interconnectedness, but not central control where they make a decision in Zurich and then they come and arrest Amish people because they made milk for their neighbors, with some cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Great point. Sam in Louisiana, you're on the air with John Rappaport. Go ahead.
I always feel like I'm walking among giants when I get on.
Oh, hello, please.
Alex.
You're the giant, Sam. Go ahead.
Man, hell, Dr. Group, if I ever get a chance to meet you in person, I'm afraid I might cry on your shoulder, man. Just hug you and cry. You are tremendous with all the products you've given us.
He helped InfoWars expand. Dr. Group and his research and helping us work with other big companies as our advisor is the reason InfoWars is even here today.
Well, I mean,
no, I'm serious.
Go, Doc.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's just something that I've dedicated my life to. So, what kind of question do you have for me, Sam?
Yeah, I've been using your deep cleanse, and it has a synergy. I was really impressed with that. With the new product, does this kind of take its place, or what? Can I, do they work in conjunction?
Here's the big rocket science. It's basically the similar product, just a different formulation.
Yes. So that's a good question. This is kind of an upgraded deep cleanse. What was happening is a lot of people were taking the X2, and we also had the iodine in the deep cleanse. So people didn't know if they were getting too much iodine or not. So what we did was we modified.
He put his finger on it. This is deep cleanse, but with concentrated zeolites with the iodine out.
Yeah, so we took and we used actually a rare plant called tamarind, and that is specifically that we found in clinical trials designed to also help remove some of those halogens from the body.
And just to be clear, we then at InfoWars Live didn't just continue that on. We made something better. We quietly pulled it back, and now there's this.
And our mission is to constantly improve.
And how many products have we pulled back and had something better?
We always do that. We do that, and we're continually doing that. I mean, we are about to unleash revolutionary innovations in natural health. I mean, all of these products will just continue to improve as technology improves and be the next generation and the next generation and the next generation.
And sometimes then we can't find something that's organic anymore. We have to remove it and put something else in. That's happened too. Thank you, Sam. Love you. Tim in Seattle. Last caller, I got time. I'll try to get to Larry, but I want Rappaport to be able to take over here. I'm kind of hogging the show. I'm famous for that. Tim in Seattle, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I have 3 unvaccinated kids, and the lies and hype that everybody has been selling.
Oh yeah, I put my flesh where my mouth is. I got 4 children. They've never had any of it. They're healthy.
Well, it's because of you. I trusted you, and I did the research. It was your delivery. It spoke to me. It resonated with me, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
But what I really wanted to call about was what's the leadership, the lack of leadership in America. We elected a president. We need him to meet this army of sedition. We need to lock her up. Hillary Clinton needs.
No, I hear you. He's under such sedition, though. He can't even. He's trying. In fact, there's an article today where they're, they're very scared inside the White House. Somebody look for it because Trump's yelling at him, saying, "You get this fixed or you're gone. You hire the people. You follow what I say or you're removed." So he's actually doing that. And when we come back, I'm gone. But I'm going to ask Rappaport to say what he thinks Trump should do to get the ball rolling. He's already done a lot. That's why they want to kill him. But what is Rappaport? He's a really smart cookie of NoMoreFakeNews.com. What does he think? Yeah, 15 years ago, he's an investigative journalist for 30 years. He launched NoMoreFakeNews.com. And notice that's the term they use today. We are the trailblazers. John Rappaport, straight ahead. I want to thank you, Dr. Grib. Great job.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, you bet, buddy. Great job.
John Rappaport sitting in for Alex here in the 4th hour at InfoWars. Before the break, started talking a little bit about what does Trump need to do. I started writing about this, I don't know, last summer. Populist candidate. Lots of people behind him. Lots of different people. They want freedom. They want jobs. They want all kinds of things. They think, they believe that this candidate can do something for them, and he says he will. And he comes out of nowhere. And he's telling the media that they're a bunch of idiots. Never happened before in modern presidency candidates, You're idiots. You're liars. Okay. So what I started writing about was this. All right, if you're this guy, Trump, then you have to establish your own live streaming web channel directly to the people. Forget the media. Go back to the people every day, every 2 days. On and on. Be very specific. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them why you're doing it. Tell them how it syncs up with the promise you make. Tell them who the opposition is by name. Who's trying to stop this? Who's trying to stop bringing jobs back to America? Let's go. You know, don't pay any attention to your director of communications and your chief bottle washer and advisor, et cetera, et cetera. Who cares? You talk directly to the people. That's it. It's a live stream all over the world. Media are going to have to cover it, but you don't even care whether they do or not because you're talking to the people about everything specifically that you're trying to do. Of course, there's a downside to that because if you say, well, 5 minutes ago I sent missiles into Syria, you're now going to explain that to the people too because they thought that you were going to bring the troops home. Not going to interfere. We want to make America strong and be able to defend the borders, something that Ron Paul was talking about a long time ago, dragged in many, many, many Americans who understood the wisdom of what he was saying about that. And many of those people voted for you, Donald Trump. So go back to the people, talk to them on a regular basis. That is a grand solution to all of the insanity going on in the media and Washington. Just have to say something about Scalia because we were talking about that in the last half hour there. Without trying to get into all of the sordid, ridiculous, absurd, insane details about the handling of his death when he died, there was no FBI investigation. There was no Department of Justice making a move in any direction to look into anything that had to do with any possible reason that he might have died except from natural causes, heart attack. Why? Because some judge, vaguely, barely, a judge in Texas gets on the phone with a couple of, marshals, cops, standing over Scalia's body, and they say, well, it looks like there's no foul play. And she says on the phone, okay, great, no autopsy. And that's the end of the story. There's many more insane details, but taking off from that. All right. So, one of the most important political figures in America over the last 30 years, like him, hate him, doesn't matter. He remains one of the most important. And there is no, with Obama in the White House, zero interest by the FBI, the Department of Justice. You would think agents would be crawling all over that ranch, all over that resort, all over the funeral home, a couple 100 miles away where he was prepared, embalmed, fluids removed, et cetera, nothing, absolutely nothing, zero. Got to restrain myself from using profanity at this point. The Washington Post, the New York Times, they bat an eye at this. They lift a finger to say, why isn't the federal government investigating? Why isn't the Department of Justice, the FBI there? Why aren't they doing anything? No, of course not. No. Oh, he was an old man. He was sick. He died. Okay, that's it. Moving right along now, here's the latest from candy canes in Disneyland. All right. Yeah. That'll get you worked up, way worked up. Just picturing Obama sitting in the White House. Oh, Scalia died. Oh, great. Wow. Yeah. Well, good. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, he died. Good. Okay, let's leave it alone. I'll give him 30 seconds standing in front of his portrait at the funeral home or the rotunda, wherever it is. Get back to the White House so I can make a list of people that I would perhaps nominate for the Supreme Court. Never happened. Done. Next story, Azure Farms. Ever heard of it? I never have, but apparently they're a very large organic farm operation in Oregon, Sherman County. As of last I looked, there was zero coverage in local Oregon papers about this story. And usually they'll cover a story like this, even if they cover it, which they ordinarily do, from the wrong side and lie about it and so forth. They give it some coverage. I've tried to contact the Sherman County government, get nothing back from them. So here's the story that Azure Farms tells in a nutshell. 2,000-acre farm, only part of their operation. They grow all kinds of organic food. They've been growing it for years and years and years. And all of a sudden, Sherman County, according to Azure Farms, makes the following decision. you've got some weeds growing there, noxious weeds that you're not controlling. And therefore, we are considering strongly very soon to move in there and spray Roundup and other pesticides on your farmland. Of course, this would totally decertify the farm as being organic. It would mean they would have to spend years trying to bring it back to organic standards, and they would no longer be selling clean, fresh, organic food for a while, a long while. That's all. Destroy healthy farm, providing healthy food for many people, destroy a business. Why not? Because we live in a socialist paradise. What difference does it make? Whatever the shortfall is, the government surely can fix it and no problem. Wow. So here's, again, the statement from Azure Farms. Claim is that Sherman County is now reinterpreting the local law that instead of controlling noxious weeds, you have to eliminate them. Well, experience shows us that Monsanto's Roundup does not eliminate weeds. If you've not been living in a cave for the last 20 years, you know that what's been happening all over the world is, in fact, that the Roundup that is sprayed on GMO crops kills off some of the weeds so that the stronger weeds now become kings and queens and spread like crazy and become virtually uncontrollable unless, you know, you drop napalm on them. So, but Sherman County thinks that by spraying, they're really going to knock out the weeds, when the weeds apparently don't even need to be knocked out because they're being controlled. Yes, you can have weeds on a farm. It's not a threat to life and limb as long as you can handle it, as long as you can control it. But nevertheless, they seem to be moving ahead, and they have a scheduled meeting or hearing on May 22nd, and they could move forward to destroy Azure Farms. Yeah, we're going to spray pesticide everywhere. And the other part of the story is apparently Sherman County is going to make Azure Farms pay for this. Put a lien on the farm to make sure that you guys cover the cost of spraying and the labor and so forth. As we destroy your own business, we want you to pay for it. Great. Fabulous. Next, James Comey. A little bit of a post-mortem here for people with short memories and short attention span. Fired, of course, we know. You know, the echo chamber in Washington and the media. Oh, shock, awe, amazement, unbelievable, stunning, horrendous. Oh, my God, you know, how could this have happened? Woo! Oh, people are just falling down in the street from the staggering shock of it all. Not really. No. But let's remember that last summer, Comey suddenly played, he was the FBI director, he suddenly played FBI director, attorney general, yeah, he played that role. He played the role of grand jury. He played the role of investigator, researcher, all of these, maybe a few others. And he stood up and gave a press conference. FBI doesn't do press conferences, right? The FBI presents evidence to the Justice Department, to the prosecutors, who then decide whether to prosecute the accused on the basis of the evidence. But Comey's going to do a press conference. He's going to stand up because Loretta Lynch, who was the Attorney General at the time, had just huddled with Bill Clinton on, the tarmac of an airport. And so the whole thing, well, she was compromised. Sure. So Comey took over, and he said, well, essentially, this is what he said. Hillary, in the handling of classified information on her private email server, which she was not supposed to have, committed the following felonies. He ticked them off. He enumerated them off for the audience. Right out there in the open. Specified what they were. And then he said, but I'm not recommending, like, who is he? J. Edgar Hoover, who's got files on everybody in the government. Maybe. I'm not recommending prosecution at this time because we saw no intent on Hillary's part to do harm, to cause harm, or to take a hostile action. When he very well knew, as well as thousands of other people at that second, that the law that pertained to this was written specifically to cover negligence in the handling of classified materials. Negligence only, that part of the law. So there would be no confusion about the issue of intent. That negligence alone rated as a felony and therefore prosecutable with fines and jail time. But no bill, no decision, no prosecution, and the Justice Department bowed down and went right along. This is James Comey. And he was also, of course, connected to the HSBC money laundering for drug cartels bank in 2013 when he was brought on board to clean up that whole mess, AKA put an honest face on the bank. Mr. Comey is here. All will be well. But yet, just several years after he left, somehow, mysteriously, apparently, he didn't take care of everything. Because, as the New York Times, other media outlets have written, 2016, HSBC, wow, they've got another problem that involves currency manipulation of $3.5 billion. Tidy sum. So Comey didn't do very well there. At a minimum, he didn't do very well. Whether there was more hanky-panky, that's up for grabs, that story. Okay, what else do we have here? New study shows FDA-approved drugs between the year 2000 and 2010, that would be 222 drugs. A third of these were revealed later on to cause extreme and severe adverse reactions, such as death. Death, for example, which the last time I looked would be classified as an adverse reaction. Yep, 1/3 of all the FDA drugs approved. Of course, the FDA has nothing to say about this. Nothing important like, it's our fault. We did this. We kill people with the drugs, right? No, they don't say that. Absolutely not. And they get away with it. Because the Department of Justice, you see, could come over there with agents and little things called handcuffs, and they could make arrests, and they could bring these people up on charges, and they could begin to dig around in this and find, easy, I found it, evidence of at least what you would call reckless endangerment, at least what you would call negligent homicide, at least what you would call, when you're really looking at it straight on, premeditated murder. And arrest many employees of the FDA, put them on trial, and put them in jail for life without the possibility of parole. I mean, that is a slam dunk case if you really look at the evidence, and the evidence is out in the open. I know because I put some of it out in the open over the last 15 years. But the Department of Justice does nothing, thereby giving the Americans the impression that these agencies are immune somehow. They just are. You just can't go in there and arrest that kind of person. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You actually can. And you could put them on trial. And if you did put them on trial, this is a word to the wise in major media, if you did put them on trial in a real show trial, open doors, cameras, by the end of that trial, you would have millions and millions and millions of people around the world watching, and your ratings would go through the roof. Of course, you might not be able to sell as many drug ads for pharmaceutical companies, but really, who cares? Because here's another clue, potato heads in the major media. You can let those pharmaceutical advertisers go. If your ratings are good enough, other advertisers will show up, and they will pay top dollar for time, space on your network or in your newspaper. That is just the way economies operate. Of course, you wouldn't know that because you're globalists and you think that the government is the ultimate solution to everything. Let's have centralized center for production and distribution of all services to the world. Yeah, that's why you're so dumb. But I can tell you that if you could lose all your pharmaceutical advertisers and you would still make out great if your ratings are good enough, because in a robust economy, or even an imitation of a robust economy, other people show up with money and they say, well, looks like you've got time, looks like you've got space, we want in. We have products too. You'll be fine. Of course, you're not going to do that. But I just thought I'd bring it up to show how, brainless you really are. Okay, we're heading toward a break here. Big story after the break about vaccine damage and the capacity and ability to sue vaccine manufacturers in the U.S. Be back after the break. Stay with us at InfoWars. John Rappaport here at the end of the fourth hour, sitting in for Alex. Just want to mention a couple of the products in the InfoWarsStore.com store, InfoWarsLife.com, Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste. Back for a limited time, only $9.95. That's more than 33 off retail, more than 33% off retail. Loaded with the good halogen iodine instead of the bad halogen fluoride. Natural oils and ingredients. This is a product my wife keeps saying that she's very interested in, so we got to get some of this. Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste back in stock for a limited time. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Just $9.95, more than 33% off retail. Okay, what else do we have here? Well, we have the ingredients, actually, including xylitol, peppermint oil, iodine, nano silver, and more in the Super Blue toothpaste. And a new product in the InfoWars store, Z-Shield Toxic Metal and Chemical Defense Support Formula, 25 off retail introductory pricing at InfoWarsLife.com. Z-Shield Toxic Medical and Chemical Defense, a proprietary toxic metal and chemical defense support formula, now available. I'm going to let you go there and read about this one yourself. It's very interesting. Go to InfoWarsLife.com and read about new Z-Shield Toxic Metal and Chemical Defense Support Formula and order some today. Okay, in the last minutes here, as we move toward the close, a big story that I covered recently at No More Fake News. And I'll just give you a tease on it. You can go find it yourself. It's long been the thought that in America, victims of vaccine damage cannot sue vaccine manufacturers. They have to go to this crazy federal vaccine compensation program and plead for compensation from vaccine injury for themselves or their children. And that's a long story, but that's been conventional wisdom. And now, all of a sudden, we have lawyers all over the country, and I've talked to a couple of them, who are suing Merck, the manufacturer of the shingles vaccine, which happens to be an adult vaccine given to people over 50, over 60, depending on who you believe here. Wow. Suing a manufacturer. One lawyer told me he's got 2 suits already filed in California with 50 plaintiffs each and 5,000 more people waiting in the wings. And they're talking about extremely serious injuries and death from the shingles vaccine, which would tend to indicate that, well, wait a minute. In America, you actually can sue a vaccine manufacturer under certain conditions. And what I discovered and what I maintain to be the truth, and I'll close with this for the moment, is that if a vaccine is listed under the child immunization schedule by the CDC, that means that anybody who is trying to get compensation for injury from one of those vaccines would indeed go to the federal kangaroo court and try to plead for compensation. But On the other hand, if it's a vaccine that's not on that schedule and it's for adults only, oh, yeah, apparently you can sue the manufacturer. That's juicy. Much more on that at a later date. We're closing out the 4th hour here, a very lively hour indeed, at Infowars.com. The war for your mind is on. Be on the right side. Be aware, be alert. See you next time.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.